Chapter 540. I don't need your loyalty. You just need to answer my questions honestly. Yun Jioga interrupted the eyeball's nagging and asked, "When did you give the order to attack Cloud City?" "Today. I suspect Nangong Yu has spies in Cloud City. She gave the order to attack the city right after you left." The eyeball said seriously, "Master, I'm good at finding spies. You can leave it to me. First, there are no spies in Cloud City. Second, I'm not your master." "Yes." Yun Jioga put the eyeball back into Xiao Chao's hand. "Don't give me to him." The eyeball screamed. Xiao Chao giggled. She grabbed the eyeball with her meaty claws and rubbed it. She was having a lot of fun. "You can scream louder. I'm sure Xiao Chao will be happy." Yun Jioga reminded it kindly. The eyeball immediately stopped screaming. Its eyelids drooped and turned into a gray ball. No matter what Xiao Chao did, it wouldn't make a sound. "Chiu Chiu, stop screaming," Xiao Chao said to Yun Jioga disappointedly. "Let it scream when we get to Cloud City." Yun Jioga patted Xiao Chao's head. Xiao Chao put the eyeball into the pocket of her green cloak and patted it. She asked expectantly, "Are we there?" "Ready. It's over there." Yun Jioga pointed to Cloud City in the distance. The Cloud City was wrapped in layers of gray vines, and there were also many puppet orcs mixed in among them, launching attacks. Fortunately, the entire Cloud City was covered by Yin Shirley's Yin Yang Qi. The attack was temporarily blocked. "Eyeball, can you get rid of these dead trees and vines?" Yun Jioga patted Xiao Chao's pocket. "Those dead trees aren't my subordinates. I can't summon them," the eyeball said gloomily. "If you can find a way to open a path, I'll let you leave Xiao Chao for 2 hours. Yun Jioga offered. "No, at least a day." The eyeball opened its gray eyelids and tried to fight for it. "Okay, 1 day it is." Yun Jioga took out the eyeball and wrapped it with the moon spirit thread. Then he warned, "If you play any more tricks, I will let Xiao Chao stab you with needles, burn you with fire, scald you with boiling water, throw you into a group of demon rats, and watch you being bitten into pieces. Don't say any more. I will be honest." If the eyeball had hands, it would have raised them in surrender. Putting aside the fact that it no longer had any doppelgangers to use, the devilish brat's terrifying magic seal was enough to deal with it. "Then hurry up and open up the passageway," Yun Jioga said. "I'll open it immediately. Tell those 2 stupid black eagles to follow me closely." The eyeball shot out a beam of red light, and a crack appeared in the middle of the vines. Ah Zhe and Ah Fei sped up and charged into the sky above Cloud City. Then, they passed through the Yin Yang Qi defense and landed. "You're finally back. If you were any later, you would be collecting the corpses of these orcs." Yin Shirley's figure immediately appeared in front of Yun Jioga. "What's the situation now?" Yun Jioga looked around the entire Cloud City and saw that all the orcs had looks of despair on their faces. It was as though the end of the world was coming. "The situation is not good. Although the formation that Yi Zi set up has been completely opened, it has used up too much energy. It won't last long." "Why are you the only one back? Where's Yi Zi?" Yin Shirley looked around and didn't see the most reliable figure. "He's at the back, cutting off the tail. He will need some time to catch up. Ah Zhe, go and call the various chiefs and elders over. I have a mission to give them." They couldn't just sit around and wait for death. They had to take the initiative. "Yes." Ah Zhe immediately set off. "Yin Shirley, go back and do your job. If the defensive barrier is broken before Yi Zi returns, you'll be waiting to be whipped by him." Yun Jioga pointed at the gradually fading defensive barrier in the sky. The gray vines were waving around outside. "I'm a walking corpse. How are you going to whip me?" Yin Shirley replied impatiently. He returned to the formation to take charge of the situation. Not long after, the military advisor and the various chiefs and elders rushed over. "Long story short, do you see those dead trees and vines? They are being controlled by demonic creatures. I will mark those demonic creatures out later. The Naga tribe, bring your bows and arrows and prepare to provide cover. The Eaglemen tribe, you are responsible for attacking. The Foxmen tribe, set up an illusion. The rest of the awakened orcs, defend the 4 corners of the city. Yun Jioga calmly issued various orders. His powerful aura calmed the orcs down. They all responded loudly. The golden orcs were spread throughout the entire Cloud City under Yun Jioga's command. Miss Yun, how do you plan to mark those demonic creatures out? The military advisor asked. Use this. Yun Jioga dug out the eyeball and stuffed it into Xiao Chao's hands. Xiao Chao, take the eyeball and mark the demonic creatures. If he doesn't listen, beat him up. Okay. Xiao Chao responded in a loud and clear voice. You promised to let me leave it for a day. You lied to me? The eyeball looked at Yun Jioga in disbelief. Hee, Qiu Qiu is crying again. Xiao Chao grinned, revealing 2 grain-sized teeth. Transparent saliva dripped onto the eyeball. Let me die. The eyeball was about to collapse as it wailed. I only said to let you leave Xiao Chao for a day. I didn't say today. Get to work now. If you don't perform well, I'll seal you in Xiao Chao's saliva. Yun Jioga threatened the eyeball while wiping Xiao Chao's saliva. This was the disadvantage of children with teeth. Saliva flew everywhere. Kill me. The eyeball screamed and flew forward desperately. Go, go, go. I'm going to kill all those damn demonic creatures. I'm not having a good time, so I won't let them have it easy. Miss Yun, who is this little adult? The military advisor looked at Xiao Chao's nimble figure. This is my demonic child, Xiao Chao. Azay, you guys go help too. Get rid of these vines as soon as possible. Yun Jioga waved his hand for his personal guards to follow. Azay hesitated for a moment, but in the end he still chose to help Xiao Chao. The other orcs followed. The eyeball ran around the city walls. It kept shooting red rays from its eyes, burning red dots into the gray dead trees. The eagle men transformed into their original forms and shuttled through the air. The Nagas wrapped themselves tightly around them and shot at the demonic creatures hidden in the vines. Those demonic creatures were all very thick and slow, so they were easily eliminated. The gray vines of the dead trees withered one after another. The puppet orcs were confused in the illusions set up by the foxmen. They attacked each other, and the pressure of attacking the city decreased a lot. Military advisor, did you see that? I just killed 15 demonic creatures with Meng. Azay flew over with Meng on his back. It's 50. How did you count? Meng rolled his eyes at Azay with his crossbow, but he couldn't hide the excitement on his face. It seems that the oracle's tricks aren't that great. Azay boasted shamelessly. Don't let your guard down. There's a kind of demon monkey corpse in Grey Castle. It's extremely strong and fast. If you encounter it, you must distance yourself and kill it. Don't let it get close to you. Cho Sen's demon monkey corpses hadn't appeared yet. They were the real troublesome ones. Chapter 541. Isn't it just a monkey? I'm the best at dealing with monkeys. Azay said with a confident face. Those aren't normal monkeys, those are. Before Yun Jioga could finish, he was interrupted by a sharp scream. He saw 3 monkey demon corpses appear in the southwest corner, tearing several tall and strong bear people in half with their bare hands. Blood splattered everywhere, causing the beast people to scream in fear. The arrogant eyeball floating in the air saw the monkey demon corpses and immediately shrank back into Xiao Chao's pocket. Bad monkey, hit. Xiao Chao moved his short legs and charged at the monkey demon corpses. Careful, don't get close to it. Yun Jioga also quickly charged over and used the moon spirit thread to tie up the monkey demon corpses. Although Xiao Chao's body only reached the knees of the monkey demon corpses, he bravely stepped on the knees and jumped onto its head. He covered the monkey's head with one hand and sucked it dry. Do your best, Xiao Chao. The little baby excitedly shouted in Yun Jioga's sea of consciousness. How did Xiao Chao suddenly become this strong? Yun Jioga watched in shock as little grass jumped around the 3 monster monkey corpses like a nimble little rabbit, sucking them dry without any effort. Hey, when I was helping you find seeds, I found some soul-eroding demon flower essence, so I gave it to him. The little baby proudly said. Soul-eroding demon flower, what is that? Yun Jioga had never heard of it before. That is a heaven-level demon. After eating it, it has the ability to forcefully steal the demon soul. It is the most suitable for Xiao Chao. the little baby proudly said. It really is suitable. Yun Jioga saw Xiao Chao easily kill the 3 monkey demon corpses. His heart was filled with an indescribable joy. Master, I killed them all. Xiao Chao bounced over to Yun Jioga, looking up with a small face like he was asking for praise. Good job. Yun Jioga rubbed his little head. Master Xiao Chao is truly too strong. The eyeball that had been hiding came out and began to run around Xiao Chao. Flatterer. Yun Jioga snappily flicked the eyeball and asked, Aren't you a demon? Why are you afraid of a few monkey demon corpses? Those are not normal monster monkey corpses, they are infused with devil souls. The eyeball confidently said, Cho Sen is very good at this. He also has a super large and powerful monster monkey corpse. It is equivalent to a human nascent soul cultivator. He actually got his hands on an original level monkey's corpse. Yun Jioji's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling about this. Oh no, he's here. The eyeball suddenly screamed and tried to hide again. Who's here? Yun Jioga quickly grabbed it. It's Cho Sen, he brought the monster monkey corpse over. Don't let him discover my existence, otherwise I'm dead for sure. The eyeball broke free from Yun Jioga's grasp and hid in Xiao Chao's pocket shivering. Yun Jioga stood at the highest point of the city wall and saw a 30-foot-tall monster monkey corpse running towards Cloud City. It looked ferocious and wore black armor. Like a bull, it charged over and slammed into the city wall. There was a loud bang. The entire city wall shook 3 times and the gray yin and yang qi covering it weakened quite a bit. If it hits us again, the city wall will collapse. Yin Shirley's hysterical voice came over. Zhe immediately charged at the black-armored monster monkey. The other beastmen also used their own methods. The illusion array and 10,000 arrows all shot out. The black-armored monster monkey opened its mouth and let out an angry roar. An invisible sound wave spread out, not only blowing away the arrows, it also caused internal injuries to the eagle man in the sky. Zhe's body shook, but he still fell to the ground with Meng. Bad monkey! Xiao Chao let out an angry scream and charged at the black-armored monster monkey. Go back, this isn't something you can deal with. Yun Jioga threw Xiao Chao back into the demonic cauldron. The moon spirit threads wrapped around the black-armored monster monkey and the gray devouring threads pierced into its body. He never thought that the black-armored monster monkey's body would be as hard as rock and the moon spirit threads couldn't pierce through it. Yun Jioga was about to increase his divine power output when the black-armored monster monkey's body suddenly released a dazzling black light that bounced off the moon spirit threads. Yun Jioga felt like her chest was hit by a hammer. Her body swayed and she fell off the wall. The black-armored monster monkey immediately reached out its furry paw to catch her. Yun Jioga shot out the moon spirit threads to stabilize herself and successfully avoided the black-armored monster monkey's attack. She used the last of her divine power to open her spirit eye and finally found his demon core on his forehead. However, her remaining divine power couldn't fly over to get rid of that demon core. She had to find someone to help her. Yun Jioga looked around. The orcs were all badly injured, and the eagle men were even more dizzy from the sound wave just now, flying all over the place. Just as despair rose in her heart, the spirit beast pouch trembled and a sturdy figure flew out of it. Ow ow ow. I'm starving. Dummy flapped its wings and was about to look for food when it realized the situation in front of it was a bit strange. A gray castle with many beasts that looked like humans and many black eagles that looked like it. What was going on? Dummy, get out of the way, Yun Jioga screamed. Only then did Dummy realize a huge black gorilla was reaching out to catch it. Dummy's golden light flashed and it quickly avoided the black-armored monster monkey's attack and instantly arrived beside Yun Jioga. Ow ow ow, hungry. You nail that monkey's forehead and I'll let you eat cherry pills until you're full. Yun Jioga took out the bottle and shook it in front of Dummy. Dummy opened its eyes wide and immediately spread its wings to rush toward the black-armored monster monkey. The black-armored monster monkey waved its hands to slap Dummy to death, but it always nimbly dodged it. Dummy found an opportunity to stare at the black-armored monster monkey's forehead, but it cried out in pain. Dummy, as long as you can stare at its forehead in the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn, I'll add another bottle of celestial dew. Yun Jioga raised the stakes. Dummy's eyes lit up with excitement and stared down like a woodpecker. The black armored monster monkey let out a series of angry howls. Unfortunately, Dummy was completely immune to its sound wave technique. Dummy finally stared at the black armored monster monkey's forehead in the time it took for a stick of incense to burn. Go, little grass. Yun Jioga took little grass out of the demonic cauldron and threw it at the black armored monster monkey. Little grass's fat body rolled a few times in the air before safely landing on the demon monkey corpse's head. It reached out to the black armored monster monkey's forehead and the surging black light was pulled out. The black armored monster monkey let out a miserable cry of pain, but it was still killed by little grass. Good job. Yun Jioga let out a sigh of relief when he saw a black cold wind blow by. Little grass's figure instantly disappeared and then reappeared in the distance. Yun Jioga, long time no see. Cho Sin grabbed little grass's collar and revealed a sinister smile at Yun Jioga. Chapter 542. Cho Sin put him down. Yun Jioga desperately circulated the divine power in his body, but he had used up too much when fighting against the black armored monkey. The remaining bit was only enough for one attack. I can put him down, unless you trade me that fat bird and the secret to awakening the orcs. Cho Sin looked greedily at Dummy. Ow ow ow. Dummy immediately roared angrily. He opened his mouth and spat out 2 fireballs. Cho Sin used Xiao Chao as a shield and all the fireballs hit Xiao Chao. Dummy, shut up. Yun Jioga glared at Dummy. Dummy immediately didn't dare to make a sound. What do you, a demonic cultivator, want this bird for? How about this? I'll trade you with the top secret technique of the corpse sect. Yun Jioga tried to negotiate with Cho Sr. Huh? Cho Sin laughed wildly and looked at Yun Jioga like he was an idiot. Why would I take the lousy technique of the corpse sect? You're not Cho Sen, Yun Jioga suddenly said. No matter how arrogant Cho Sen was, he wouldn't look down on the technique of the corpse sect. You're indeed the reincarnation of a goddess. You have a good eye. Cho Sen smiled and admitted it without hesitation. Who are you and what's your relationship with Nangongyu? If this Cho Sen's heart was replaced, then Nangongyu might not be herself. If you want to know, trade with the secret to awakening the golden light. Otherwise, I'll eat this little guy. Cho Sin grabbed Xiao Chao's neck and licked its face with his bright red tongue. Xiao Chao trembled in fear. Her big eyes were filled with fear. Her 2 small hands tried to pry Cho Sen's hand away and her little feet desperately kicked in the air. Master, I want to save Xiao Chao. Let me out. The little baby Yun Jioga shouted excitedly in the divine sense. What can you do? Don't cause trouble. The little baby had been planting grass every day since he returned. He had no fighting power. I have one chance to teleport. Put me on his head. I'll knock him out and put Xiao Chao in. The little baby had saved up for a long time to get one chance to teleport. He was saving it to save Yun Jioga in the future, but now he could only use it to save Xiao Chao. Yun Jioga looked at Xiao Cao's face, which was becoming more and more purple, and could only give it a try. I'll attract his attention first, and you can teleport over when the time is right. The little cute baby's round face was taut, and he stared at Cho Sen with all his might. Cho Sen patted Xiao Chao's face and asked Yun Jioga with a smile, Have you decided? Do you want this demonic embryo or do you want to protect these useless beastmen? If you let it go, I'll give you the method to awaken the golden light, but I can't give it to Dummy, Yun Jioga said in a low voice. Okay, use your divine sense to engrave the method of awakening into the jade slip. If it's useful, I'll let it go. Cho Sen slightly loosened his grip on Xiao Chao, but he still firmly confined her body. All right. Yun Jioga took out a jade strip from his storage bag, casually imprinted a bit of his spiritual consciousness into it, and then threw it to Cho. Senator Cho Sen's eyes stared at the jade slip. His right hand transformed into a black light and grabbed the jade slip. Yun Jioga took the chance to release the demonic tripod and smash it at the back of his head. The little cute baby's teleportation was very successful. At that moment, Cho Sen's left hand was holding the baby, and his right hand was holding the jade slip. He couldn't react at all. But just as the demonic tripod was about to smash his head, a large black hand appeared from his neck and knocked the demonic tripod away. "Ah, get out of the way!" The little cute baby screamed and flew toward Yunjioga. Yunjioga quickly dodged and saw the demonic tripod violently hit Cloud City. With a loud bang, the defensive shield on top of Cloud City disappeared. The remaining puppet beastmen immediately climbed over the wall and fought with the golden light beastmen. The scene was chaotic. "Master, I didn't do it on purpose. He's too powerful." The troublemaker cried and returned to Yunjioga's consciousness. Yunjioga didn't have time to scold him. He looked at Chosen and said, "Don't mess around. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see your coffin. I have to teach you a lesson." Chosen revealed a cruel smile. His left hand grabbed Xiao Cao's body, and his right hand pinched its arm. He was about to pull it off. But Yunjioga screamed. His divine power turned into a golden arrow and shot at Cho. Senator Chosen knew how powerful the arrow was. He immediately blocked Xiao Cao in front of him. Yunjioga used his divine consciousness to control the golden arrow. He wanted to find a flaw, but Chosen always stopped him with Xiao Cao. "Shoot him." Suddenly, Zishang's voice reached Yunjioga's ears. "Where are you?" Yunjioga's eyes lit up. His helper was finally back. "Don't worry about me. Hurry up and shoot." Zishang's tone was urgent. It wasn't easy to use divine consciousness transmission in the spirit forbidding land. Yunjioga gritted his teeth and shot the golden arrow at Cho. Senator Chosen hadn't expected Yunjioga to really dare to attack. He threw Xiao Cao in the direction of the golden arrow and quickly retreated. Yunjioga used all his strength to make the golden arrow make a big turn. It brushed past Xiao Cao's arm and flew toward Cho. Senator Chosen's hands moved like wheels. He conjured countless spells and shot out rays of black light to block the golden arrow. The golden arrow chased after him like a hot knife through butter. Just then, Zishang's voice reached Yunjioga's ears again. "Show weakness." Yunjioga immediately reduced the amount of divine power he was using. The golden arrow's light gradually weakened and was finally scattered by Chosen's black light. Joy flashed in Chosen's eyes. He was about to counterattack and take down Yunjioga when Zishang appeared behind him like a ghost. His fists rained down on Chosen's body and hit the ground. Chosen spat out a mouthful of black blood. The black light around his body exploded. He took advantage of Zishang's shock to fly forward. But before he could fly more than 3 meters, Zishang's tail whipped him back. He flew toward Yunjioga like a kite with a broken string. Yunjioga used his remaining divine power to form a golden arrow and successfully shot it through his chest. Ow ow ow. Dummy didn't miss the opportunity. It opened its mouth and spat out countless fireballs at Cho. Senator Chosen's face was burned black by Dummy's fireballs. He fell heavily to the ground. "Who are you?" Yunjioga used his moon spirit threads to tie Chosen up. He wanted to interrogate him, but he found that he wasn't breathing. "He's dead." Yunjioga couldn't believe it. Zishang walked over and stepped on Chosen's body. He glanced at Chosen's head and said, "The demonic soul that took over his body has run away." Where did that demonic soul come from? How could it take over a body in this arcane realm? Even Wan Sha's soul couldn't enter and leave the arcane realm freely. You'll have to ask Nangong Yu to find out. Zishang rubbed his fingers. He wanted to use demon fire to burn Chosen's body. Yunjioga hurriedly stopped Zishang and said, "Chosen's soul might still be here. Leave his body here first." "You're right. He's a golden core cultivator after all. It's not a bad idea to feed him to demonic beasts in the future." Zishang nodded. It was indeed a waste to burn him like this. Chapter 543. Yunjioga rolled her eyes at Zishang and put Chosen's body into her storage bag. She turned to look at the devastated Cloud City. De Meng and the other orcs had already killed most of the puppet orcs. "Miss Yun, are you all right?" The military counselor flapped his wings and flew over. "I'm fine. Take a good look at the casualties and bring it to me later," Yunjioga ordered in a low voice. "Yes." The military counselor glanced at Dummy. He wanted to talk to him, but he still flew away. Dummy, come here. Yun Jioga called Dummy over. Ow, ow, ow. Hungry, hungry, hungry. Dummy flew to Yun Jioga's side and opened his mouth wide. Stop howling and talk seriously. Yun Jioga took out a bottle of cherry pill and poured it into Dummy's mouth. Do you remember what happened in the past? Oh, I remember. Dummy chewed the cherry pill in big mouthfuls. Then he waved his wings at the busy eagle men in Cloud City and said, "These are my people. I am their prince." Then do you remember how you successfully turned into a beast? Yun Jioga poured a bottle of immortal dew for Dummy. I remember. At that time, I passed by an open space and found a golden tree growing a few fragrant fruits. After eating them, they transformed. However, when I went to look for the golden tree, it was gone. This was Dummy's biggest secret. He didn't even tell Elder Bai. He only told him when Yun Jioga asked him. Do you remember where the tree grew? Yun Jioga asked quickly. I remember. But after the black rain, that place turned into a dead swamp. There was only an empty flatland left, Dummy said. Flatland? Is it Grey Castle? Yun Jioga looked at Zishang in shock. It should be. No wonder they built a castle there. It must be for the golden tree. Zishang's eyes lit up. We must find that golden tree. Yun Jioga had a feeling that as long as he found the golden tree, he would have hope of recovering his divine power. Grey Castle's defense is tight. It's not easy to break it. We must send the golden light orcs. Although Zishang could still forcefully break through it if he transformed into his original form, it was better to save some demonic energy. Let's see how many of them have died first. Yun Jioga and Zishang returned to the hall on the hill. The military counselor quickly tallied up the casualties. There were 357 lightly injured orcs, 138 severely injured orcs, and 44 dead. These casualties were all golden light beastmen. Ordinary beastmen who were hiding in the plantation did not suffer any casualties. Miss Yun, Lord In Shirley's In Yang Chi has been used up. If Grey Castle attacks again, I'm afraid we won't be able to hold on, the military counselor said worriedly. Yi Zi wants to take this opportunity to fight back against Grey Castle. What do you think? Yun Jioga asked for his military counselor's opinion. Master Yi Zi is right. If we don't remove the roots, the grass will grow again when the spring breeze blows. We must take the initiative to attack. The military counselor nodded repeatedly. The orc race had always been a warlike race. Hiding like a tortoise was not in line with their style. That's a wise choice. Zishang was very satisfied with the military counselor's answer. How many orcs do you think we should bring? Yun Jioga asked Zishang. 100 elites will be enough. Zishang had already thought of a way to deal with Grey Castle. The puppets guarding Grey Castle mainly relied on the Devil Chi and the Death Chi. As long as Fei Fei absorbed the Death Chi around Grey Castle and turned it into Life Chi, the puppet orcs and monsters would be greatly restricted. Then, they would be able to attack with twice the effort. 100 elites is no problem. The military counselor nodded repeatedly. Gather the people as soon as possible. We'll set off in 2 hours, Zishang said. So soon? Yun Jioga frowned. 2 hours was not enough for everyone to recover. We've already injured the devil soul. It's time to kill him while he's down. Zishang felt that even 2 hours was too long. I'll go inform them now. The military counselor immediately turned around and flew away. Dummy, go to Grey Castle with Grey to check out the situation. Also, see if it's where you found the golden tree. Zishang called Dummy over. Oh. Dummy saw that his people were in a critical situation, so he obediently went to do his work. Zishang, time is too tight. It's too dangerous. Yun Jioga was about to have a good talk with Zishang when the voice of the rabbit chief came from outside the door. Miss Yun, I have something to tell you. Come in. Yun Jioga could only put Zishang's matter aside for now. The rabbit chief walked in with a sika deer skin bag in his hand. Miss Yun, the carrots you asked us to plant are ready. The rabbit chief placed the animal skin bag on the table and then took out the neatly bundled carrots inside. There were 3 piles in total, from left to right, each brighter and redder than the last. You planted these with blood? Yun Jioga pointed at the reddest pile and asked. Yes, the land here is very good. The harvest is better than I expected, the rabbit chief said. It looks very good. Yun Jioga picked it up and sniffed it. It had a strong smell of blood and even a trace of spiritual power. To be able to plant spiritual power in an arcane realm where spiritual power was forbidden, this blood carrot was very useful to cultivators. Of course it's good. I planted these with blood. The rabbit chief repeatedly emphasized her hard work. She didn't want to give up her offerings for nothing. Bring all these blood carrots here. I'll exchange this bottle of pills with you. There are 10 pills in total. Taking one will help you evolve once. Yun Jioga took out a bottle of cherry pills and placed it on the table. Thank you for your generosity. I'll bring the carrots over immediately. The rabbit chief carefully put away the cherry pills. In the attack of Cloud City, the rabbit people were the most injured. In the end, it was because they were too weak. With this bottle of pills, they had an extra layer of protection. After the rabbit chief left, Zishang picked up a blood carrot and tasted it. He said, "It's full of spiritual power. If a cultivator is injured here, this is definitely the most suitable pill." That's right. That's why you eat it. It's useful. Yun Jioga slapped Zishang's hand away and put away all the blood carrots. Let's go to the rabbit people and get the rest of the blood carrots. Then we'll go pick the people. Zishang threw the rest of the carrots into his mouth. Yun Jioga and Zishang put away the blood carrots and went to find the military counselor. The military counselor had already gathered 100 elite warriors. Yun Jioga's guards were all among them. There were also the chiefs and elders of various tribes who volunteered. Go back and rest. We'll set off in an hour. Zishang waved his hand and dismissed them. This counterattack against Grey Castle was very dangerous. They might not return. It was good to let them say goodbye to their clansmen. Chapter 544. An hour later, Dummy and Ash flew back. Master, Grey Castle is where I found the golden tree. Let's hurry up and bring that treasure back. Dummy shouted excitedly. It wanted to rush in, but it didn't dare to because there were too many monsters around. All right, let's go now. Yun Jioga patted Dummy's fat head, then looked at Zishang. It's time. Zishang nodded and ordered the military advisor to gather the orc elites. The 100 orc elites were split into 2 teams. One team was made up of eagle men, carrying the Nagas as the vanguard. One group was made up of centaurs. They transformed into their original forms and carried other orcs towards Grey Castle at full speed. Yun Jioga and Zishang sat on Dummy's back, helping them clear away any obstacles that might appear in front of them. The group of people successfully arrived at the edge of the death swamp. The black aura of death shrouded the entire forest, and the muddy swamp had a faint fishy smell. In the past, orcs would be corroded as soon as they got close, but after awakening the golden light, they could finally resist the aura of death. At this moment, on the marshland, Grey Castle was tightly surrounded by countless puppet orcs. The gate was completely blocked by pitch-black magical beasts. Stay where you are and wait for my orders, Zishang ordered the military advisor. Yes. The military counselor nodded and began to organize the soldiers to stay where they were and wait for the attack. Let Grass and Feifei come out, Zishang said as he looked at Yun Jioga. These 2 little guys were the main force behind the attack on Grey Castle. Yun Jioga released Feifei and Xiao Chao as instructed. The little black and white butterfly smelled the thick death qi in front of it, and its small eyes immediately lit up. Recently, it had fallen in love with the work of converting death qi. Xiao Cao's face drooped and she looked a bit dazed. She had been scared by Chosun today and still hadn't regained her composure. The eyeball poked its head out of its pocket. Just as it was about to shrink back, it was pulled out by Yun Jioga. Have you been here before? Yun Jioga asked, pointing at Grey Castle. I've been here before. Nangong, you built a demonic pool down there to nurture us, the eyeball answered honestly. Did you see a golden tree inside? Yun Jioga asked again. No, we were thrown out to work as soon as we were born, the eyeball said. It's a waste of time to ask him about this. We should hurry up and deal with these eyesores. Zishang said to Yun Jioga. Later, Bring Fei Fei to the entrance to convert the death chi. Xiao Qiao and I will be responsible for eliminating the demonic creatures. Okay. Yun Jioga stuffed the eyeball back into Xiao Cao's pocket and flew down to her shoulder. Xiao Qiao also perked up and walked over to Zi Shang's side. What about me? Dummy asked. You're responsible for providing support outside. As soon as you see the kingdom of Grey Castle change its expression, ask the military counselor to lead the troops in, Zi Shang said. Oh, I promise I'll complete the mission. Dummy puffed up its fat chest and flew into the air. Let's go. Zi Shang took the lead and flew towards Grey Castle with Xiao Qiao. As soon as the two of them entered the range of the flat ground, the originally motionless puppet orcs instantly came to life. Arrows filled the sky and rained down on them. The black monsters drove the gray vines of the dead tree to block their way. Zi Decease's serpent tail lashed out, shattering countless puppet demonic beasts. Xiao Qiao raised her small hand high, and the black demonic energy turned into a big iron hammer, smashing those small demonic beasts into pieces. Fei Fei, let's go. Yun Jioga took Fei Fei through the crack created by Zi Shang and the others and came to the roof of Grey Castle. Fei Fei immediately flapped its wings, and the Black Death aura immediately turned into white vitality, dyeing the roof of Grey Castle white. The demonic beasts felt a great sense of crisis, and the dead tree vines immediately turned to Yun Jioga. At this time, Dummy happened to see the change in the kingdom of Grey Castle and immediately flew to the military counselor and shouted, "You can attack now." The military counselor immediately transformed into his original form, a slender black eagle, and took the lead to attack Grey Castle. The other orcs also transformed into various beast forms, roared, and rushed into Grey Castle to fight. The puppet orcs and demonic beasts, who were originally attacking in an orderly manner, were stunned by the sudden attack. Their attacks became messy and disorderly, and a gap finally appeared in the tightly covered door. Yun Jioga and Zi Shang took the opportunity to rush over and finally pushed open the gate and killed their way into Grey Castle. The defense inside Grey Castle was very weak, and the two of them rushed straight in, quickly arriving in front of the huge stone gate. Be careful of the devil's soul hiding in there to attack, Yun Jioga said vigilantly. It wasn't my target when it possessed me, and it's even more impossible now. Zi Shang put his hand on the gate and pushed it open with force. The room behind the stone gate was dark and frighteningly quiet. The walls were filled with countless iron cages, and there was nothing in them. Only the remnants of hair and bloodstains on the ground showed that countless golden light orcs had been imprisoned here. Zi Shang walked over to check and said, "Those golden light orcs should have been devoured by the devil's soul." Yun Jioga opened his spirit eye to search around, but did not find any traces of the devil's soul. Instead, he found the fluctuation of a barrier on one of the walls. The three pure Qian Kuan formation, the purple cloud sex signature formation, Zi Shang said after careful examination. It must have been set up by Nangong Yu. Move aside, I'll break it. Yun Jioga found the spirit stones used to set up the barrier and released moon spirit threads to penetrate the wall and devour the spirit stones. The spirit energy was exhausted, and the wall collapsed, revealing a wide space. It was empty inside. On the left was a dried-up black pool, and in the middle was a huge pit, as if something had been uprooted. That's the demonic pool that gave birth to us. The eyeball floated out of Fei Fei's pocket and pointed at the dry pool. What about this? Yun Jioga picked up the soil in the pit and brought it to the tip of his nose. He could immediately smell a familiar divine power. The golden tree that Dummy mentioned must have been planted here. I don't know about that. The demonic pool we grew up in has a barrier, so we can't see what's happening outside. The eyeball blinked. You're lying. Yun Jioga picked it up, squinted, and said, "You said that when you were born, there was an accident in the demonic pool, and that's why you mutated. Is this accident related to the thing in this pit?" The eyeball was shocked. It did not expect Yun Jioga to guess so accurately. "Answer me honestly and you'll live. If you play any more tricks, I'll throw you into the demonic pool and reincarnate," Yun Jioga said coldly. I'll talk. The eyeball immediately replied honestly, "Actually, I don't know what happened either." The barrier suddenly shook and a very powerful aura floated in, and then I ate it. And then? Yun Jioga raised his eyebrows. Then I saw that there seemed to be a person sealed in the golden tree, the eyeball said, bracing itself. Is it a man or a woman? What does it look like? How old is it? Yun Jioga pinched the eyeball and asked a series of questions. Chapter 545. I don't know. I just glanced at it. Before I could see it clearly, the barrier returned to normal. The eyeball felt that it was really bitter. If it had known that this would be the outcome of becoming smart, it would have been better to just muddle along for the rest of its life. Are you sure there's a person sealed inside the golden tree? Yun Jioga asked again. I'm not sure. I only saw a blurry image of a person. Yun Jioga squeezed the eyeball so hard that it felt like it was going to explode. Calm down. Zi Shang pressed down on Yun Jioga's shoulder, dug out the eyeball from her palm, and then threw it to Xiao Qiao. Don't cry, Qiu Qiu. Xiao Qiao immediately comforted the poor eyeball. Sob, 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 little master. The eyeball felt that the grass in front of it was as cute as a fua. Rub, rub. Xiao Qiao stretched out her hand to rub her eyeball, which made its face full of saliva. The eyeball immediately felt that there was nothing left to live for, so it burrowed back into Xiao Cao's pocket. The person sealed by the golden tree is most likely Li Wei. Before I reincarnated, I asked him to help me safeguard my godhood, Yun Jioga said excitedly. She was just wondering why the golden light in the mystic realm was compatible with her god power. So it was caused by her godhead. You actually let him take care of the divine spark? Zi Shang frowned. The divine spark was the symbol of Yun Jioga's status as a goddess, and even he had never touched it. The situation was urgent at the time. After I discovered the clues about the catastrophe, I only had time to seal it with a godhead and give it to Li Wei. Yun Jioga was helpless. It was probably because she was in too much of a hurry when she took out the godhood, which caused her reincarnation to go wrong. Aren't you afraid that Li Wei will use your divine spark to do bad things? It wasn't that Zi Shang doubted Li Wei's loyalty, but the godhood was too important. Even he couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't be tempted. I placed a seal on the godhood as well. Other than me, no one can open it. No one can use it. If Yun Jioga hadn't held back, there was no way he would have handed it over to someone else. Then can you sense where the divine deity is right now? Zi Shang asked. I can't. Yun Jioga shook her head helplessly. If the eyeball had not reminded her, she would not have even been able to smell the godhood. Could there be a problem? Zi Shang was even more nervous than Yun Jioga. No, it should be related to the calamity of the godhood seal. The divine spark was something dug out from her divine soul. If there was really a problem, she would definitely be able to sense it. This soil is still very fresh. Nangong Yu and the others shouldn't have gone too far. If we search for them now, we should still be able to find some clues, Zi Shang said as he squatted in front of the pit. Then let's hurry up and get out. Just as Yun Jioga was about to leave, Fei Fei flapped its wings and came to the top of the devil's pool. It said with a look of confusion, why is there life chi down there? Could there be other creatures besides it that could create life chi? Let's open it up. Yun Jioga turned around and walked over to the side of the devil's pool. Together with Zi Shang, they dug out the devil's pool. There were 2 ice coffins at the bottom of the devil's pool. Lying inside were Nangong Li and Bailey Moyu. Zi Shang carried the 2 ice coffins up and removed the seals on them to get the people out. Yun Jioga went up to check on them and found that their bodies were fine. There was no demonic energy in their bodies. It was just that their divine senses were sealed. Be careful. Zi Shang stopped Yun Jioga's hand from inspecting, then gently brushed aside Nangong Li and Bailey Moyin's hair. Their scalps were pierced with silver needles that could imprison one's divine sense, and they shone with a strange light. Netherworld spirit-sealing needles, Yun Jioga blurted out. This array was extremely vicious. The souls of people who were hit by this array would be turned into nutrients to nourish their bodies. It was a technique that the devil race often used to possess others. Looks like these 2 brats' bodies have already been reserved by someone. Zi Shang thought of Cho Sen, who had been possessed. He was most likely killed by this array. help me protect them. I'll remove these silver needles. Removing the netherworld spirit sealing needles was very particular. They had to be removed one by one according to the order in which the needles were inserted. Otherwise, their souls would be destroyed. Fortunately, Yun Jioge was very familiar with this array. Using his spirit eye, he successfully removed the silver needles. However, Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun had been sealed for a long time. Their souls were very weak. Without the nourishment of spiritual energy, it was difficult for them to even open their eyes. Yun Jioge poured a few spirit pills into their mouths. Unfortunately, the effects were not obvious. The spirit sealing effect was too strong. Give them the Rabbitman race's blood radish, Zi Shang said from the side. Oh right, I almost forgot about this treasure. Yun Jioge took out the Rabbitman race's blood radish, crushed it into powder, and stuffed it into the two's mouths. Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun subconsciously swallowed it. Their dim souls were nourished by spiritual energy. Finally, they slowly opened their eyes. Lady Yun. Nangong Li's voice was very hoarse. It was as if he hadn't spoken for a long time. Where is this? Bailey Moyun shook his head. He still didn't understand the situation. This is Nangong Yu's base camp. Your souls were sealed by the netherworld spirit sealing needles. You were almost turned into human cauldrons, Yun Jioge said. She's not Nangong Yu. Nangong Li panted heavily and retorted agitatedly. If she's not Nangong Yu, then who is she? When we were in the 100,000 mountains, why did you leave us and enter the mystic realm? Yun Jioge asked. I don't know who she is. When we were in the 100,000 mountains, she bewitched Cho Sen and tied us up. Then she left you and entered the mystic realm. Nangong Li's emotions gradually stabilized. When Nangong Yu and Cho Sen disappeared together, the Purple Cloud sect master used a secret technique to summon her soul back. Nangong Yu's soul told them that there were many treasures in the primal chaos mystic realm. The indigenous beastmen inside were born with strong vitality. They could be refined into supreme-grade essence longevity pills. The Purple Cloud sect master wasn't young anymore. He was constantly worried about the day when his lifespan would end. After listening to Nangong Yu's soul, he made up his mind to enter the mystic realm. Their Purple Cloud sect had prepared for many years. They were just waiting for Cho Sen to find the treasure map and enter the mystic realm. Unexpectedly, the news of the primal chaos mystic realm was leaked. Someone even found another path to enter the mystic realm. However, only golden core cultivators and above could enter. When the Purple Cloud sect received the news, they decided to make two preparations. One was to let Nangong Li bring Nangong Yu's soul to follow Cho Sen into the mystic realm. The other was to let the golden core cultivators of the sect enter through another path. Bailey Moyun had followed them in by accident. That soul isn't my aunt, Nangong Yu. The moment she entered the mystic realm, she used the excuse of helping Cho Sen remove the seal. She gave Cho Sen's body to a demonic soul that appeared out of nowhere. She even sealed us all. Nangong Li's eyes were filled with hatred. That's right. Miss Yun, before I was sealed, I heard that they captured all the golden core cultivators. They were preparing to use them as a blood sacrifice to remove a certain seal. Hurry and save them. You must not let Nangong Yu's scheme succeed, Bailey Moyun said hurriedly. Chapter 546. Looks like this was all a trap set by Nangong Yu. She's been planning this for a long time. Nangong Yu and Cho Sen were probably controlled by the demon as soon as they entered the secret realm. Nangong Yu and the others are either after your divinity or clues about the catastrophe. We have to find them as soon as possible. Zi Shang was very uneasy. Although Yun Jioge swore that no one could break her seal, Nangong Yu had a strange background. Who could be 100% sure that the seal was safe? Have dummy and military advisor investigate immediately. Hopefully we can find clues about their departure. But Yun Jioge felt that it would be difficult. Nangong Yu was obviously a very cautious person. Miss Yun, I had Xiao Tao and Xiaoying keep an eye on them before I was sealed. If you find them, you should be able to find Nangong Yu. Bailey Moyun forced himself to stand. He felt dizzy after being sealed for so long. Nangong Li's face was pale, and he was also very tired. He almost fell on Xiao Chao when he stood up. If Xiao Chao had used her magic to support him, he wouldn't have fallen to the ground. Is there any use in having them watch Nangong Yu? Yun Jioga frowned. Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying's levels were very low. How could Nangong Yu not notice them? The two of them awakened a new ability after entering the secret territory. They can absorb the aura of death and wrap it around their bodies without being discovered. Furthermore, Nangong Yu has never taken them seriously, so they've managed to hide themselves very well, Nangong Li explained in a hoarse voice. That's right. We're only in the Foundation establishment realm. Nangong Yu was very lax at first, even treating us as companions in front of the knolls. Originally, we wanted to endure it and find a chance to escape, but Nangong Yu was too vicious. She used the food of the beastmen to spread her demonic aura, wanting to turn those pregnant women into magical creatures. We couldn't help but argue with her, and we were sealed in the crystal coffins. Bailey Moyun sighed. It was all his fault for being too impulsive. Fei Fei, can you summon Xiao Ying and Xiao Tao? Yun Jioga lowered his head and asked Fei Fei. He was originally a mother gu and had a strong control over all gu in the world. I'll try. Fei Fei landed on Yun Jioga's shoulder and closed his eyes to feel. Soon, he felt a familiar fluctuation. There in the east, not far from us, Fei Fei said, opening his eyes. Let's go. Zi Shang immediately turned and left. Yun Jioga was about to leave with Xiao Chao when he saw that Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun were on the verge of collapsing. He gave them 2 more blood radishes and said, "This can replenish your spiritual power. You guys rest first, I'll send someone to pick you up later." Bailey Moyun and Nangong Li knew that they would only be a burden if they followed, so they did not force themselves. Yun Jioga quickly left with Xiao Chao. They saw Zi Shang standing at the door and talking to the military advisor. When he saw them, he said, "I've already told the military advisor to take care of Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun. Leave the rest to them. Let's hurry and chase after Nangong Yu." "Well, I was ready," Dummy shouted from the side. "All right." Yun Jioga nodded and sat on Dummy's back with Zi Shang and Xiao Chao. The group headed east. Fei Fei had been searching for Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying with her eyes closed the whole time. Then she gave them directions. After flying for about an hour, Yun Jioga suddenly felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. This is the place where we dropped when we first entered the mystic realm. Zi Shang's memory was better than Yun Jioga's. He pointed to a small hill in front of them and said, "This is where we met the leopard men and the lizard men." "That's right, this is the place." Yun Jioga also remembered. Could there be a reason why Nangong Yu moved them here? Xiao Tao and the rest are right in front. Fei Fei directed Dummy to fly forward for another incense stick's time. Then, they saw a boundless forest of dead trees. The dark brown wasteland looked like a grayish-white sea. "They're right there." Fei Fei pointed to the forest of dead trees. Yun Jioga opened his spirit eye and carefully observed the forest of dead trees. Other than a black deathly aura, there was nothing else. "Eyeball, can you see anything?" Yun Jioga took out the eyeball from Xiao Chao's pocket. What a fragrant smell. The eyeball stared at the forest of dead trees below with a lifeless expression. It looked like it could not control itself. "I can smell the scent of a devil's pool. Nangong, you must have built a devil's pool below. Do you have a way to sneak us in?" Yun Jioga did not want to alert the enemy. It would be best if they could sneak in to check the situation. "Yes, there are many monsters in this forest of dead trees. You just need to catch them and put them on your body to hide your scent. However, after you defeat Nangong Yu, you must give me the devil's pool." The eyeball stated its conditions coldly. "What do you want the devil's pool for?" Yun Jioga looked at it suspiciously. "The devil's pool is the source of my power. If I can absorb it, I can improve my abilities." The eyeball pretended to be impatient. Yun Jioga had a good impression of this clever and tactful little monster. If he trained it well, it would be a good pet for Xiao Chao to play with in the future. "But this fat eagle can't follow us in." The eyeball looked at Dummy in disdain. "Stupid beastmen who can't even speak properly will only ruin the plan. Ow! Dummy felt that it was being despised and immediately roared angrily. It wanted to spit a string of fireballs at it. Alright, Dummy, you just wait outside. Yun Jioga patted Dummy's head and fed it a few spirit pills. Dummy immediately shut up in satisfaction. Follow me. The eyeball's red pupil emitted a ball of light that fell on the forest. A dozen black monsters were attracted over and finally knocked out. Yun Jioga and Zi Shang jumped onto Dummy's back into the dead tree forest. The dead tree forest was dim and smelled fishy. The black monsters on the ground were all strangely shaped. They looked like human limbs, ears, noses, mouths, and other organs. Yun Jioga took out 2 cloth bags and put the black monsters in them. He handed one to Zi Shang. Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying are over there. Fei Fei squatted on Yun Jioga's shoulder, its white wings pointing to the center of the forest. That's where the demonic aura is the thickest. The devil's pool must be there. The eyeball was very excited as if it could already smell the demonic aura. It smells good. Xiao Chao also clapped her hands excitedly. The demonic aura was also very nutritious to her. If you find it, I'll give you half, the eyeball said generously. Half. Xiao Chao didn't care. Be good, Xiao. Rest first. Yun Jioga put Xiao Chao into the demonic cauldron and tied the eyeball with moon spirit silk. We're so familiar with each other. Why are you still using this thing? The eyeball was very depressed. Before you form a contract with me, you're just a captive. Yun Jioga wouldn't easily believe this guy. All right. The eyeball also knew that words were useless. It could only float forward obediently. Chapter 547. Yun Jioga and Zi Shang followed behind it. The vines of the dead tree seemed to think that they were one of their own, and they instinctively avoided the path. They came to the center of the forest unimpeded and saw a dead tree that covered the sky. The tree trunk was so thick that it would take at least a dozen people to wrap their arms around it. Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying are inside this tree, Fei Fei said affirmatively. The demonic chi pool is also below. The eyeball couldn't wait to stick itself to the dead tree and inject its demonic chi into it. The grayish-white tree bark split open, revealing a narrow gap. It was dark inside, and there was a light green staircase that extended downwards without an end in sight. Just as the eyeball was about to fly in, Yun Jioga pulled it back. Aren't you afraid that there are traps inside? Even if there's a trap, it won't be for me. Why don't you let me go in and help you scout the situation? The eyeball blinked its grayish-white eyelids, revealing a complicated look of struggle and frustration. Yun Jioga narrowed his eyes. This fellow was a little strange. He probably wouldn't come out after entering. Unfortunately, this spirit-forbidding land did not allow the use of spiritual power, so she could not sign a contract with the eyeball even if she wanted to. Xiao Chao was still a child, so it was easy to fall into a trap by using demonic energy to establish a contract with the eyeball. Because she couldn't enter Xiao Cao's divine sense to control it, even if it was tricked, it wouldn't be aware. Then what do you want to do? The aura of these monsters will lose its effect if it sleeps for too long, the eyeball said helplessly. Yun Jioga really couldn't think of any good ideas, so he could only look at Zi Shang. Let's go in together and finish this quickly. When Zi Shang thought about how Yun Jioga's godhead was trapped under this tree, he felt as if a huge rock was pressing down on his chest. If something were to happen to the godhead, Yun Jioga would never be able to regain her status as a goddess, and he wouldn't be able to protect her forever. All right. Although Yun Jioga felt that this was too rash, he couldn't think of a better way. It was too late to summon the Golden Light Beastmen to attack now. Nangong Yu might take advantage of this time to escape. She might as well barge in and take a look at the situation. Now that her divine power had almost recovered, she was still confident in escaping. That's right. The eyeball floated forward impatiently. Yun Jioga and Zi Shang followed it into the dark interior of the tree and walked down the green spiral staircase. The grayish-white bark closed up silently. The boundless dead forest shrunk inward like a receding tide. All the dead trees gathered on the giant tree and then disappeared. The dark brown land was empty, as if there had never been such a large forest of dead trees. Although Yun Jioga and Zi Shang did not notice this anomaly, After entering the dead tree space, they still lit up a large fireball and looked down vigilantly. He saw that the forbidden area of the spiral staircase was a piece of flat ground, and he could faintly see the golden light flashing. It's that golden tree. I can smell the scent of godhood, Yun Jioga said excitedly. Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying are beside the golden tree. I see them. Fei Fei flapped its wings and flew forward, but it was caught by Yun Jioga. Don't act rashly. This is the enemy's lair. Can I jump down from here? Zi Shang looked at the distance between the spiral staircase and the ground, seriously considering the possibility. No, if you jump down, I'm afraid you'll alert Nangongyu. The eyeball quickly stopped him. We've been here for so long. Why hasn't Nangongyu noticed us? Did she just let the golden tree seed stay down there without sending anyone to guard it? Zi Shang pinched the eyeball and raised it in front of him. Maybe she's busy with other things, like dealing with those golden core cultivators. That's why she's not here, the eyeball said. Seems like you know Nangongyu very well. The corner of Zi Shang's mouth curled up, but his eyes did not smile at all. This is just my guess. If you think it's wrong, then forget it. The eyeball could not help but become bloodshot again. It was obvious that it was very nervous. Stop acting. You've completed your mission by luring us here. Why don't you call Nangongyu out to receive her reward? Zi Shang increased the strength of his fingers. His expression was very cold. It looked like he was going to crush the eyeball on the spot. Don't kill me. I didn't mean to hurt you. The eyeball screamed. If you didn't mean to, then you did. Yun Jioga sighed and said, You really disappoint me. I used to like you. This little demon had been lying from the beginning. There was no need for it to stay. I didn't want to either. Nangongyu cast a forbidden spell on me. If I don't listen to her, I'll be killed immediately, the eyeball said pitifully. Didn't you say that you weren't controlled by Nangongyu? Yun Jioga did not believe its nonsense. She really couldn't control me before. I was only controlled after she dug out those two people from under Grey Castle. The eyeball's eyes were filled with despair. It said, When you were talking to Bailey Moyun, Nangong Li secretly cast a seal on me. I wanted to tell you, but I couldn't. Only after we entered this place did the seal loosen. What did you say? There's something wrong with Nangong Li? Yun Jioga's eyes widened in disbelief. He had never expected this to be the reason. That's right. If you don't believe me, you can ask Nangongyu. She's down here. As soon as the eyeball finished speaking, countless bright balls of light began to light up from the bottom of the pitch-black space, dispelling the darkness and revealing the true appearance of the space. Nangongyu stood at the bottom of the spiral staircase. She wore a golden dress and her hair was combed into a high bun. Her eyes were filled with arrogance. She looked more like a young married woman than a young girl. Nangongyu, is Nangong Li also one of your people? Yun Jioga said as he recalled Nangong Li's appearance when he disguised himself as Wanli Mingxian. It was impossible for a person to disguise themselves as two completely different people, unless there were two different souls living in their bodies. Wanli Mingxian was most likely the mysterious demon soul. That's right. Nangongyu smiled and said, Originally, I wanted to keep him by your side as a secret pawn. I didn't expect you to be so easily fooled. It saved me a lot of effort. Master Nangong, I've already brought them here according to your instructions. Please remove the seal on me. The eyeball immediately begged. Since you're so loyal to me, of course I'll help you remove it. Nangongyu smiled and grabbed at the air in Zi Shang's direction. Yun Jioga could feel a powerful force of the same origin as the eyeball. It wasn't to remove the curse on the eyeball, but to destroy it. She didn't want the eyeball to die immediately, so she threw it into the demonic cauldron. Zi Shang raised his hand and dispersed Nangongyu's power. TSK, I heard that the goddess is kind-hearted and respects the equality of all things. I didn't expect that she would even forgive a traitor. Nangongyu's destruction failed. A mocking smile appeared on her face. Chapter 548. Whether I'm kind or not has nothing to do with you. Where's my golden tree? Yun Jioga opened his spiritual eye and saw a barrier around Nangongyu. The golden tree should be inside. It's right here. Come and get it if you can. Nangong Yu waved her sleeves and the surrounding light fluctuated. A pitch-black demonic pool appeared on the empty ground. The black pool water bubbled, and the black mist that floated out formed the shapes of small demonic creatures. These small demonic creatures had strange shapes. Many of them looked like eyeballs with red pupils and gray eyelids. In the area where the monsters were gathered, there was a golden tree. The branches were bare and there were no leaves. Inside the tree was a man with an ordinary face. It was Li Wei. His hands were placed on his chest, as if he was guarding something. Yun Jioga knew that it was the catastrophe seal she had given to Li Wei. She really wanted to rush down and save Li Wei, but she didn't dare to act rashly when she saw Nangong Yu's fearless expression. There's something strange about this space. Zi Shang grabbed Yun Jioga's hand and scanned the surroundings. Then he lowered his head to look at the spiral staircase. The Nether Ghost Formation. No wonder we had to take this spiral staircase. Yun Jioga looked over. The golden core cultivators from the 5 evil sects and 6 righteous sects were sealed inside the black stone slabs. Their heads were full of nether forbidding spirit needles and they were sealed inside in very strange postures. If Yun Jioga and Zi Shang had walked down the staircase, they would have been trapped inside the Nether Ghost Formation. I thought I would have to spend a lot of effort to lure you here. I didn't expect 2 little insects and a small demonic creature to lure you here. I don't know if I should call you stupid or bold. Nangong Yu smiled proudly and patted the golden tree, revealing Xiao Tao and Xiao Ying who had been turned into specimens. The 2 little insects had pained expressions, as if they had suffered great torture when they were alive. You actually killed them. Yun Jioga's anger soared. He raised his hand and shot an arrow at Nangong Yu. The golden arrow pierced through the air, passing through layer after layer of transparent defenses, but it was unable to reach Nangong Yu. Let my Nether Ghost Formation play with you first. Nangong Yu clapped her hands, and the lights in the entire space gradually dimmed into darkness. Only the faint green glow of the rotating stone staircase remained. We have to break this formation first before we can find her. Zi Shang stomped his foot forcefully, causing the entire stone slab to tremble. Several silhouettes appeared on the long stone staircase. They all had numb expressions on their faces. They were all golden core cultivators, and they lined up densely all the way down. Yun Jioga looked carefully. The few golden core cultivators at the front looked like they were from the Danyang sect. The core Yang sect was only good at refining elixirs. Most of them stayed in their cave abodes and traded elixirs with others. Their offensive power was not strong. Zi Shang charged forward and shattered the souls of the core Yang sect's golden core cultivators with a single punch before he charged forward like a hot knife through butter. Yun Jioga followed behind him and discovered that after the cultivators' divine souls were shattered, they slowly began to reform. The souls of these cultivators were undying and indestructible, so they had to pass through the stone staircase as quickly as possible. Zi Shang also discovered this problem. He no longer conserved his strength. Black scales rapidly spread across his face, his hands turned into sharp claws, and his body became a dragon tail. He smashed forward with incomparable strength. Yun Jioga followed closely behind Zi Shang. Soon, they had covered more than half of the distance, but they encountered a roadblock at the end. The slender cultivators of the 5 evil sects all played dirty tricks. They created countless traps on the flat stone staircase, and even raised one wall after another. Behind each wall, a sword cultivator from the Wuji Sword Pavilion would appear. Although they had been refined into puppet souls, their sword chi was still very sharp. More and more divine souls appeared behind them, and they began to approach step by step. Zi Shang's handsome face was already covered with black scales, and his attacks were getting more and more ruthless. However, Yun Jioga did not relax at all. It was not a good thing to waste too much energy at the beginning. He had to think of a way to break through these walls that were blocking the way. Master, why did you throw this disgusting eyeball in? The little baby's dissatisfied voice sounded in Yun Jioga's divine consciousness. You're the one. Yun Jioga's eyes lit up. He took out the demonic tripod and placed it on the ground. With a pinch of his fingers, he turned it into a large round bronze tripod. Master, what are you doing? The little baby was still confused. Go! Yun-Jyoga kicked, and the demonic tripod rolled forward. Rumbling sounds rang out. Countless stone walls were smashed, and the souls were also affected. Zishang killed in all directions. Yun-Jyoga and the others were unobstructed. Finally, they broke through the spiral stone staircase. Human cultivators are so useless. They can only stop us for such a short time. Nangong Yu shook her head. Then she opened her mouth and sucked. All the divine souls sealed in the stone staircase flew into her mouth. Her body made banging sounds, and she actually rose from the ground. She turned into a 3-meter-tall monster. On her pitch-black face was a bloody mouth filled with sharp white teeth. She had 6 long arms, 2 thick legs, and a long tail behind her. It was filled with an ominous smell. Demon from outer space? Yun-Jyoga blurted out. What demon from outer space? Zishang asked while blocking the monster's attacks. I remember now. The revelation of the catastrophe told me that there is a group of evil and powerful demons from outer space outside Songlan continent. They plunder resources everywhere. They forcefully opened the passage to Songlan continent and threw in the monsters they raised. Not only can these demonic creatures possess human bodies at will, they can also spread demonic chi like a plague. After all the living beings on Azure Waves continent have become filthy demonic creatures, they will come and take away the origin power of the continent. Everything will be destroyed. Yun-Jyoga wanted to smash her own head. How could she forget such an important thing? Back then, you used your physical body to mend the sky. Was it to seal that passage? Because Zishang was too shocked, he was accidentally hit by the monster. He smashed into the wall and countless pieces fell. That's right. When I used my physical body to seal the demon passage, I found the key to open the passage. I sealed it with my divine spark and gave it to Li Wei, Yun-Jyoga said while dodging the monster's attacks. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and save Li Wei and destroy the key. Zishang kicked the monster into a corner and tried to use his tail to entangle it. The monster roared madly, but it couldn't break free. Yun-Jyoga took the opportunity to rush to the side of the golden tree. He wanted to pull it out of the pool of demonic energy, but he found that it was as if it had taken root and couldn't move at all. At this time, the monster finally broke free from Zishang's restraints and sent him flying with a punch. Chapter 549. Zishang landed next to Yun-Jyoga's feet, then bounced up and charged at the monster. After absorbing the power of those cultivators, the monster became extremely powerful and had strange methods. Although Zishang was brave, he couldn't take it down in a short amount of time. Li Wei, can you hear me? Yun-Jyoga hit the golden tree with all her might. Li Wei's eyes were closed and he didn't respond. Yun-Jyoga looked at the pool of demonic chi beneath her feet and decided to release the Godhead seal to recover her god power before helping Li Wei. Yun-Jyoga bit her index finger and used her blood to write runes on the golden tree. This set of runes was created by her, and it was the only way to release the seal. The golden red god blood slowly seeped into the golden tree. Li Wei's eyelashes began to tremble and the entire golden tree shook. Then there was a cracking sound. The broken pieces of the golden tree flew into the sky and gradually formed a heart-shaped godhead. Seeing this heart, the monster let out a crazy roar and wanted to rush over, but Zishang's tail smacked it away. Yun-Jyoga reached out to grab the godhood, but she discovered that a figure was faster than her, grabbing the heartbeat and pulling it to the side. Li Wei, what are you doing? Yun-Jyoga stared at her most trusted subordinate and found that on his handsome face, there was a pair of black bottomless eyes. The pool of demonic chi beneath his feet that bound the golden tree had disappeared. Dear goddess, I've served you for so long and I've never introduced my name to you. I'm Ogre. Li Wei bowed to Yun-Jyoga with exaggerated movements. Who are you and when did you enter Li Wei's body? Yun-Jyoga was sure that when Li Wei was serving her, it wasn't this ogre. Or perhaps you prefer to call me the key to open the demonic channel. Ogre straightened up and the corner of her mouth pulled down, revealing a strange smile. You're the devil spirit of that key? Yun Jioga's pupils shrank. Everything had a spirit. That key had actually formed a devil spirit and harmed Li Wei, who was in charge of it. That's right, your Godhead seal is indeed powerful. I used countless methods to control Li Wei to do two things. Ogre sighed and said. Ogre pretended to sigh and said, if it wasn't for that, I would have opened the passage long ago to welcome my master. You encouraged Yu Ling to commit suicide? Yun Jioga gritted his teeth and asked. At that time, they were still wondering who had impersonated Li Wei to instigate Yu Ling. They didn't expect it to be the devil spirit transformed by the key. That's right. Although I did it very cleverly, Li Wei still noticed it and decisively sealed himself in this damned place. It's just that he didn't expect that I brought a few contracted monsters with me. Those monsters helped me a lot, Ogre said with a smile. What about Li Wei? Where did you take him? Yun Jioga stared into Ogre's black eyes. If you want to seal me, you have to pay the price. Og's black eyes were calm. He's dead. Yun Jioga felt an indescribable pain in his heart. No, his soul is still sealed here. Why don't we make a deal? You open my body and I'll return him to you. Ogre pointed at his chest. There was a faint red humanoid glow there, emitting the aura of Li Wei's soul. He used the soul he sacrificed to add another layer of seal outside the key. Only Yun Jioga could undo it. Then you have to first return the godhood to me. Only then will I have the power to undo the seal, Yun Jioga said calmly. You want the godhood, sure, but you have to sign a contract with me first. Ogre played with the golden godhood in his hand and smiled. What contract do you want to sign? Yun Jioga raised his eyebrows. He already knew that the conditions this devil spirit proposed were ridiculous. Master-servant contract. I'm the master and you're the servant, Ogre said shamelessly. You, a devil spirit, want to be my master? Yun Jioga sneered. He slowly adjusted the god power in his hand and prepared to attack at any time. I advise you not to act rashly. This godhood isn't as strong as you think. Ogre squeezed the godhood hard and acted as if he was going to destroy it. At this moment, the monster that Zishang was entangled with was sent flying and charged straight at Ogre. Idiot! Ogre impatiently kicked the monster back to Zishang. Yun Jioga took the opportunity to shoot a golden divine light at Ogre. Ogre didn't take it head-on. He moved to the right, but Zishang blocked his path. Zishang clawed at his chest. Ogre's right hand expanded into the shape of a black monster's claw and clashed with Zishang's palm. A huge shockwave came from where the two clashed. Zishang retreated to Yun Jioga's side. Ogre also took 2 steps back. He looked at Zishang viciously and smiled. As expected of the strongest Fey emperor on the continent. You're still this strong even after dispersing your cultivation. It's just that you've angered me like this. Aren't you afraid that I'll fight you to the death? With that said, he wanted to take out the godhood to threaten Yun Jioga. However, he found that there was nothing in his hand. Yun Jioga had secretly used his moon spirit threads to stick to the godhood while Ogre was talking. You dare to dream about our things? Scram back to your world. Zishang said and whipped his tail at Ogre. Ogre's figure flashed and disappeared on the spot like a ghost. Then, countless ogres appeared in the space. They smiled at Yun Jioga and Zishang and said, So what if you've obtained the godhood? You'll still die here. With that said, the floor of the space shook and revealed a black pool of demonic energy. Countless beast and beastman corpses were soaking in the pool. The color of the pool water was very strange. It was thick and viscous. It gave off a smell even worse than the death swamp. Enjoy this black rain source. You'll definitely like it. Ogre's laughter echoed in the space. Ogre polluted the source energy of this mystic realm, which caused the black rain to descend. If I hadn't sealed the passage back then, he would have used the same method to destroy the source energy of the Azure Tide continent. Just as Yun Jioga finished speaking, the monster that Nangong Yu had transformed into accidentally fell into the black water. She was immediately corroded until not even her bones were left. We have to leave this place. That pool of black water is no joke. Zishang's right hand pierced through the wall. With Yun Jioga on his back, he climbed up. The ferocious black water was spreading faster than they could climb. Zishang quickly rushed to the top. However, he discovered that the exit door had already disappeared. "Protect me. I'll absorb the godhood first," Yun Jioga instructed anxiously. He then swallowed the godhood into his stomach. The familiar power did not appear. The godhood in Yun Jioga's stomach did not react at all. "You're not the only one who knows how to seal things." Ogre's voice resounded in the space. A pair of pitch-black eyes appeared in the black water. They reflected a strange light as they approached Yun Jioga. Chapter 550. Zishang moved up again and stuck close to the top of the space. He vigilantly looked at Ogre, who was lurking in the black water. The entire space was filled with a disgusting smell. Black demonic chi seeped into his body through his pores, making him dizzy and powerless. This kind of terrifying demonic chi could only be dispelled by divine power. No matter how strong he was, he had no way to resist it. "Ha! Tremble, people of Blue Waves continent. You all will melt in this black water and become the stepping stones of my conquest of this continent. Wait until I take down Blue Waves continent, then I will be able to open the passage to welcome my companions." Aogu issued a savage laughter, then the black water rippled and approached Zishang and Yun Jioga. "Zishang, I can't undo the seal." Yun Jioga desperately mobilized the divine power in her body to break the seal. But the seal was too powerful. It was as powerful as the passage she had sealed with her body. Obviously, Ogre had used all his power to seal her godhead. If she could break through this layer, not only would she obtain divine power, she would also be able to kill Ogre. But first, she had to have enough power to undo the seal. "Calm down, the godhead is already in your hands. You can definitely undo it." Zishang's voice was calm and steady. "Yes, yes, yes, I can definitely undo it." Yun Jioga encouraged herself. Then, she condensed her divine power again to attack the seal. But her remaining divine power was too weak. It was like trying to smash an egg against a stone. "Give up resisting, stupid Kanglan people. We, Blackbone demons, are the most powerful race of extraterrestrial demons. No one can resist our invasion." Ogre's gloomy voice echoed in the space. Ancient Demon Hay accidentally discovered that the origin power of Blue Waves continent was very suitable for them to invade. Although Blue Waves continent was only a low-level plane, the Extraterrestrial Alliance clearly stated that they were not allowed to invade the origin continent that had consciousness. In order to prevent other races from discovering this piece of fat meat, Ancient Demon Hay sent Ogre to secretly come to Blue Waves continent to open the passage. But because of a moment of carelessness, Yun Jioga used the godhead to seal it. Before he fainted, he released his contracted demonic servant. Then Yun Jioga sealed it and threw it into this secret realm. He spent countless efforts to slowly reverse the situation and was successfully lured to this secret realm by Yun Jioga. Now, it was time for him to harvest the fruit of victory. "Shut up." Yun Jioga angrily shot an arrow at Og. The golden arrow pierced through the black water and ignited with golden flames. The water level of the black water dropped a little. If she had enough power, she could burn the black water, just like how she forcefully closed the passage. "Don't waste your divine power. That's just a provocation." Zishang pressed down on Yun Jioga's hand. "But I can't break the seal." Yun Jioga didn't want to admit that she was useless, but she had indeed lost this time. There must be a way. Zishang was not discouraged at all. "No, Zishang, we've lost. Later on, I will burn my godly power to get you out. Then I will be reincarnated once more. This time, you must find me as soon as possible." Yun Jioga gripped Zishang's hand tightly. It was all her fault for being too conceited and foolish in her previous life. For the sake of the unreachable Son of Life, she had hurt the person she loved and pushed him away. That was why she was destined to fail. "No, I won't look for you again." Zishang's eyes flashed with gentleness and pain. "I have already waited for 2,000 years. I don't want to wait any longer. Also, Yueling said that if you reincarnate again, your soul power will be even weaker. It will be even more impossible for you to defeat Og." No, I will reincarnate with God's spark this time. It will definitely be better than this life. Yun Jioga's tone was anxious. She really wanted to convince Zishang, but she knew very well that in her previous life, she was at the peak of power. At that time, she couldn't kill Og. If she lost in his hands in this life, there was no chance of winning in her next life. Azure Wave Continent was finished. But even so, she still hoped that Zishang could survive. No, this time, let me help you. Zishang suddenly hugged Yunjioga's waist and forcefully covered her mouth. A warm thing slid down her throat from her mouth and into her abdomen with a familiar taste. That was Zishang's inner core. You're crazy. Yunjioga wanted to spit out the inner core. Without the inner core, Zishang would have no divine soul. He would die. I know you can do it. Zishang smiled. His handsome face was so gentle that it was intoxicating. His finger flicked out a beam of moonlight that entered Yunjioga's body. Moon spirit threads suddenly appeared and tightly wrapped around Yunjioga, pinning her to the wall. Let me go, Yunjioga ordered the moon spirit threads. But Yu Ling, stubbornly sent a remnant of consciousness over. I knew that entering the secret realm would be life-threatening. But don't worry, I will definitely take you out of the secret realm alive. This was Yu Ling-er's consciousness that Zishang had secretly collected. He had prepared it just for this moment. Jioga, I love you, Zishang said and jumped into the black water. Zishang! Yunjioga screamed. A blinding dragon light came out of Zishang's body. Dragon horns appeared on his forehead, and black dragon scales extended downwards. In the end, he transformed into an extremely powerful black dragon. The black dragon's strong tail viciously whipped the walls of the space. A strong dragon aura immediately exploded. The black water surged and the entire space shook. Damn it! Aogu roared angrily. The black water rolled up turbulent waves and rushed towards Zishang. Moon spirit threads flickered with tenacious light and resisted the black water. Yunjioga was safe and sound, but Zishang was covered in cuts and bruises. The black water corroded his scales. His flesh was mottled, but he fiercely collided as if he didn't feel any pain. Blood spurted out from his forehead. The mighty dragon horn started to crack, but his dark purple pupils didn't waver. Raging flames spread from his eyes to his whole body. The bright red blood was like kerosene, burning his life just to help Yunjioga escape from the prison. The space had already started to collapse. Cracks started to appear. Just a few more collisions and it would collapse. Zishang, you madman! Aogu was mad. He really didn't expect that Zishang, a dignified dragon emperor, would do this for Yunjioga. If he really let Yunjioga escape from here, then all his plans would be for naught. He had to kill Yunjioga as soon as possible. Even if he couldn't get the divine power of Blue Waves Continent, he didn't care. Aogu once again sunk into the boiling black water. The black water split into two. On the left side, the black water turned into a rope and firmly tied Zishang. Zishang struggled with all his might, but he couldn't get rid of it for a while. On the right side, the black water condensed into a black arrowhead. Although this black arrowhead was only the size of a fist, it condensed a terrifying aura and shot towards Yunjioga with world-shaking momentum. Chapter 551. Yunjioga's pupils shrank. Moon spirit threads also sensed great danger and immediately took Yunjioga to hide, trying to escape the black arrow's attack. The black arrow chased after Yunjioga but failed to lock onto her. It seemed to impatiently stop and then split into countless black arrows that filled the entire space. The black arrows were all pointed at Yunjioga. No matter where she hid, she could not escape the attack. Die! Ogre let out a triumphant yell, and the black water 10,000 arrows shot toward Yunjioga with a destructive aura. Yunjioga's scalp went numb. Golden divine power condensed on the surface as she prepared to take this terrifying attack. At this moment, Zishang suddenly let out a roar. His black dragon body suddenly exploded. After breaking free of the black water, he instantly blocked Yunjioga's path. Countless black arrows shot into his body. His already wounded body was now covered in bloody holes. He looked like a piece of ragged cloth. Zishang. Yun-jyoga screamed uncontrollably. She held Zishang's blood-stained dragon head with trembling hands. She wanted to touch him but was afraid of hurting him. Live. Zishang spat out the words in a hoarse and tired voice. He used the last of his strength to slam the stone wall above him. The dragon blood and black water mixed together and finally exploded the entire space. Yun-jyoga's body was sent flying by a huge wave of air and flew towards the hole in the sky. Her body floated in the air. The wind whistled in her ears. The dark brown dry land appeared in her eyes again, like a picture of the end of the world. In this gray picture, Zishang's bloody and broken body was extremely eye-catching. His dark purple eyes stared at Yun-jyoga's figure. Inch by inch, his falling body turned to ash and disappeared from the world. Ah! Yun-jyoga let out the roar of a wounded beast. It was like a cuckoo crying blood. Her soul was in so much pain that it felt like it was about to explode. The dragon orb in her body sensed its master's death. It released the last of its demon power and surged into her abdomen along with the golden divine power. Her abdomen squeezed violently. The pain made her break out in a cold sweat. She could feel a huge force pressing against her dantian. Warm water flowed out from under her. Something fell out of her body and floated in front of her. It was a white egg the size of a palm. After shaking violently from left to right, it made a popping sound. A cute little head popped out. It had a pair of forked golden horns on its head, fluffy golden hair, a round little face, short thick eyebrows, and a fiery red phoenix feather flower mark in the middle of its eyebrows. It looked a little like Yun-jyoga, but also a little like Zishang. There was no doubt that it was their child, the legendary child of life. Yun-jyoga stared blankly at the child, her mind completely blank. She felt as if her soul was slowly disappearing with Zishang's death. Saving the world? Saving the calamity? All of this had nothing to do with her. At this moment, she only wanted to follow Zishang. The little dragon man crawled out of the shell and hovered in front of its mother. Its body was very healthy, and its 4 limbs were chubby. There was even a golden dragon tail on its tailbone that emitted the purest light of life. Son of life? Ogre's surprised voice rang out. Then, a huge black palm rose from the ground and grabbed at the little dragon man in the air. Wah wah wah. The little dragon man was so frightened that it cried loudly. Rumbling thunders and hailstones rained down, scattering the huge black palm in the air. Ogre was not discouraged by the failure. He gathered all the demonic aura in the entire mystic realm and condensed it into a black palm that was even bigger and scarier than before, grabbing at the little dragon man. The little dragon man's wind, thunder, and hailstones rained down again, but it was unable to scatter that terrifying huge black palm. Wah wah wah. The little dragon man felt fear and immediately crawled into Yun-jyoga's arms. It tried its best to burrow into her clothes, wishing that it could turn into an egg and return to its mother's embrace. The warm touch finally awakened Yun-jyoga's consciousness. She hugged the child's tiny body, and she finally came back to life. Zishang was dead. What she wanted to do was to take revenge, not to wallow in self-pity. Yun-jyoga used her moon spirit threads to bind that huge black palm. Then she condensed her divine power again, wanting to break the seal. The golden godhead had already shattered the seal when it descended. The familiar divine power fused into Yun-jyoga's divine soul again and flowed through her entire body. A golden red flame lit up between Yun-jyoga's brows. The phoenix feather flower was as dazzling as a phoenix that had gone through nirvana. Streaks of red patterns spread down from her forehead. Golden red light feathers formed a pair of wings on her back, illuminating the world with divine light. Damn it! Ogre screamed uncontrollably. After the seal was broken, the power of his divine soul was also rapidly disappearing. If he did not think of a way to escape, he would really be destroyed. Ogre looked at Yun-jyoga with resentment. The huge black hand formed by the black water split into countless raindrops and rained down on the world. As long as a trace of his divine soul could escape, he could continue to lie dormant and wait for the day he could make a comeback. Yun-jyoga, just you wait. Everything is not over yet. Ogre's divine soul split into thousands of pieces. Just as he was about to fall to the ground and escape, he suddenly realized that his vision blurred. The vast mystic realm turned into a blue space. You are not the only one who knows how to set up a spatial barrier. Yun-Jyoga's voice spread out like water ripples. Ogre widened his eyes in horror. He looked up and saw Yun-Jyoga hugging the little dragon man and looking down at him from above. The golden little dragon man opened its little hands and looked at him curiously with its extremely pure eyes as though it was looking at something fun. Spatial barrier was the innate ability of the golden dragon. After it absorbed its mother's divine power, it became even more powerful. It transferred all the black water that Ogre turned into its own spatial barrier. The Azure Waves continent is mine. You should not covet something that doesn't belong to you. Yun-Jyoga raised her hand expressionlessly. A wisp of golden flames emerged from her hand and floated into the air before turning into a thunder fire needle. Die! Following Yun-Jyoga's order, the thunder fire needle transformed into countless lightning needles and rained down like a rainstorm. The purple lightning exploded above the black water and eventually turned into golden flames that burned fiercely. The black water bubbled like boiling water and turned into transparent water vapor before vanishing without a trace. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Keeping me alive is useful to you. You can use me and the ancient black ink race. They will definitely be willing to pay any price in exchange for my life. Ogre let out a miserable scream and kept tempting Yun-Jyoga to spare his life. Yun-Jyoga's response was to increase the output of divine power. The fire was like a bottle of oil that was poured into a bottle and quickly burned Ogre's divine soul into nothingness. Chapter 552. The little dragon man regretfully watched its new toy disappear in the space. It patted its chubby hands and hugged its mother's neck. It tiredly rested its head on her shoulder. Yun-Jyoga hugged the little dragon man tightly and came to the huge pit where Zishang had died. She smelled Zishang's remaining scent in the air. Her legs gave way and she collapsed to the ground. Her mind was even more blank. The little dragon man muttered and then pulled Yun-Jyoga's hair. Then the black demonic tripod fell and almost hit Yun-Jyoga's toes. Master, don't be sad. I used the soul-returning wood to collect Lord Zishang's soul. The little baby's urgent voice sounded in Yun-Jyoga's consciousness and immediately pulled her soul back. Where? Yun-Jyoga's voice couldn't help trembling. Here. The little baby pointed at the soul-returning wood planted in the space. There was a quiet black dragon inside the red mist-like wood. It was undoubtedly Zishang's soul. Zishang. Yun-Jyoga's consciousness sank into the demonic tripod and formed a small person. It pounced at the soul-returning wood and called, Jyoga, are you okay? Zishang opened his eyelids. His pupils reflected Yun-Jyoga's figure. I'm fine. I've already killed Ogre. How are you now? Yun-Jyoga reached out to touch Zishang but passed through his soul. My soul is very weak. You have to undo the seal of the palace and put my soul back into my body. Back then, Yun-Jyoga had sealed the palace after mending the sky. Zishang's soul had reincarnated with her and left his body in the palace. I'll definitely take you back to the palace. As long as Zishang could survive, it wouldn't be a problem to take him to the outer world to find otherworldly demons, not to mention back to the palace. Okay. Zishang's eyelids grew heavier and his voice weaker. Although he hid in the soul-returning wood at the critical moment, he was still exhausted and had no strength to speak. Master, don't worry. I'll take good care of Lord Zishang. The little baby smiled obsequiously. After wandering outside for so many years, he could finally return to the palace. I'll leave him to you. If anything happens to him, I'll ask for you, Yun-Jyoga said sternly. Yes. The little cute baby's face was serious and taut as he promised to complete the task. Although Yun-Jyoga really wanted to stay in the demonic tripod with Zishang, there were still many things waiting for her outside. Yun-Jyoga left the demonic tripod and saw that the little dragon man had already fallen asleep with its arms around her neck. Good boy. Yun Joga kissed the little horn on its forehead and sent it to the demonic tripod beside Zishang. Then he spread his wings and flew towards Cloud City. Ian Shirley was standing at the top of Cloud City when he saw a beam of golden light flying towards him from afar. He looked into the distance and saw Yun Joga covered in golden light, stepping on auspicious clouds, looking extremely holy. "Greetings, Lady Goddess." Ian Shirley knelt on one knee and his voice reverberated throughout the entire Cloud City. The orcs also knelt down and welcomed Yun Joga's arrival with the most pious gesture. "Where's Nangong Li?" Yun Joga landed in front of Ian Shirley and asked. "He's dead." Ian Shirley sighed. "What's going on?" Mo Hun was not easy to deal with. She didn't think that Ian Shirley could kill him. "Follow me and you'll know." Ian Shirley brought Yun Joga to Nangong Li's room. She saw Nangong Li's corpse lying on the ground. He had become a monster like Nangong Yu. Bailey Moyun sat at the side with a shocked expression. He was completely dumbfounded. There was a loud noise in the sky just now. "He suddenly died and became like this," Ian Shirley said. "Very good. She didn't have to do it herself." "Lady Yun, what exactly happened?" Bailey Moyun supported himself against the wall and stood up. He didn't understand how his best friend had become such a monster. Nangong Li and Nangong Yu were both killed by the Mo Hun. Yun Joga told him about the extraterrestrial demon and ogre. Nangong Li, who had been possessed by the Mo Hun, had planned to kill all the orcs in Cloud City. Unfortunately, he had died with ogre before he could act. Now that the passageway is closed, does that mean that the catastrophe is about to end? Ian Shirley asked nervously. The extraterrestrial demons have already set their eyes on this place. They will send more people here sooner or later. We must prepare in advance. Gather all the orcs. I have orders. Yun Joga didn't have time to waste. After settling things here, she still had to bring Zishang back to the Divine Palace. After all the orcs had gathered, Yun Joga eliminated all the death chi and devil chi that had polluted the arcane realm in front of them. Golden light shone on the ground. Everything grew, grass sprouted, and clean spring water appeared again. The orcs knelt at Yun Joga's feet excitedly. Tears streamed down their faces as they murmured, thanking the goddess for her gift. "Ow, ow, ow, aren't you taking me with you?" When Dummy heard that Yun Joga was going to leave, he was so scared that his eyes widened. "You're more needed here." Yun Joga patted Dummy's head and secretly transferred some divine power to him. Dummy's body elongated and slowly grew taller. Finally, he turned into a handsome young man with slanted eyes. "When you grow up, come find me at the Divine Palace." Yun Joga smiled and shot a golden oracle into the sky. She ordered the Eagle Man Prince Ling Fei to be the Beast King and lead the entire orc race. She also left the training rules for the priests in the Divine Palace. She asked the tribes to pick out the best orcs to enter the Divine Palace to learn the knowledge of the priests and help the orcs continue to evolve. After Yun Joga settled things in the arcane realm, she left with Bailey Moyun and Ian Shirley. "Goddess, what can I do?" Bailey Moyun's expression was determined. The death of his best friend made him realize how terrifying the extraterrestrial demons were. He was eager to do something. "I will grant you nascent soul cultivation. I hope you can lead the righteous path and prepare for the coming catastrophe." Yun Joga took out a divine elixir that she had made in her previous life. She had originally prepared it for the battle against the extraterrestrial demons. But after what happened to Zishang, she didn't want to shoulder all the burden. The rise and fall of the world was everyone's responsibility. Bailey Moyun had a righteous heart. She believed that he could lead the righteous path cultivators to success. "Goddess, don't worry. I know what to do." Bailey Moyun took the divine elixir and swallowed it, then left. "Looks like the evil sects are for me." Ian Shirley took a step forward and stood in front of Yun Joga. "This is what Zishang promised you." Yun Joga took out 2 green heart of the universe. "Thank you." Ian Shirley didn't say anything heroic. He had been taught by Sanskrit. He had long regarded saving the world as his responsibility. After Ian Shirley left, Yun Joga went to the 100,000 Mountains to find Ju Nichen, Luo Tian, and Yiyu. She told them about the extraterrestrial demons and gave them divine elixirs as well. Miss, will we be able to see you again? Yi looked at Yun Jioga sadly. Jun Yichen and Luo Tian also looked sad. Cultivate well. When you reach the soul formation level, you can come and see me, Yun Jioga comforted. Where do you live? How can we find you? Yi Yu immediately perked up. I live in the Kunlun Mountain Divine Palace. That night, thunder suddenly rumbled in Kunlun Mountain. Golden light shone brightly within a radius of 100 kilometers. The phantom of flying dragons and dancing phoenixes enveloped the entire earth. The golden heavenly gate faintly opened. A golden light pillar shrouded Kunlun Mountain. A holy and beautiful woman slowly rose from the golden light pillar. From then on, countless legends were left in Blue Wave's continent. Chapter 553. Divine Palace, Lotus Hall. Yun Jioga held his son's little paw and pointed at the big white egg that was soaking in the golden pool. Baby, do you see that white egg? That's your father. Egg father? The little dragon man frowned. It did not understand why other people's fathers were so tall and mighty, but its father was a big white egg. He was injured in the fight with the bad guys to save us, so he could only hide in the egg and grow out again. Yun Jioga carried his son closer to Zishang. A year ago, she successfully opened the seal of the Divine Palace and found Zishang's original body. She did not expect him to degenerate into an egg after putting his soul in. Wan Sha said that Zishang was too exhausted to maintain his demon form and needed to absorb more power to transform again. She could only put Zishang's egg in the lotus pool and wait for him to be born again. Bad guys, kill them. The little dragon man waved his little paw angrily. He still remembered the big black hand he saw when he was born. We've killed the bad guys. All right, you should go take a nap and say good afternoon to father. Yun Jioga grabbed his son's little paw and waved at Zishang. Good afternoon, father. The little dragon man waved his paw obediently. Zishang's egg shook slightly as if responding to them. Zishang, do your best. We'll visit you again later. Yun Jioga kissed Zishang's egg and left the Lotus Hall with his son towards the Golden Dragon Hall. Along the way, the maids bowed to her. The one in charge of taking care of the little dragon man was a maid chosen by the Spirit Clan. Her name was Qing. Goddess, Lord Wan Sha just sent someone to look for you. He said that there's someone waiting in the hall. Qing was small but very strong. She took the heavy little dragon man from Yun Jioga's arms effortlessly. Mother, accompany me. I'm scared. The little dragon man pulled Yun Jioga's sleeve with tears in his eyes. All right, mother will accompany you. Yun Jioga could not bear to see her son acting like a spoiled child. Although the little guy was already as tall as a 3-year-old human, he was still a 1-year-old who needed his mother's company. The little dragon man immediately smiled happily and lay on the small golden bed. There were shiny gems beside the pillow. The dragon race had always loved to collect treasures, and the little dragon man was no exception. The entire Golden Dragon Palace was inlaid with all kinds of gemstones that it liked. Go to sleep. Yun Jioga touched the small forked horn on his son's forehead and gently hummed a song to coax him to sleep. The little dragon man slowly fell asleep, and there were beautiful gemstones everywhere in its dream. Its favorite was the white jade statue of its mother in the middle. Mother is the most beautiful. The little dragon man took out a small handkerchief and wiped the face of his mother's statue happily. At this moment, a clear and arrogant voice rang out. Little bastard, you've finally come. The little dragon man turned its head and saw a boy who was about 7 years old appearing in its dream. He wore a gorgeous black robe, and his face was extraordinarily handsome. His lips were bright red as if they were stained with blood. The pair of small black horns on his forehead were incomparably sharp, and they flickered with an ominous light. Anyone who looked at them would feel like they were being stabbed. Why are you here again? I don't welcome you. The little dragon man spread its arms in front of its mother's statue and looked at the boy warily. A bastard will always be a bastard. It doesn't make sense no matter what. The boy crossed his arms in front of his chest and said to the little dragon man with contempt, Don't think that you can stop the attack of the ancient black fiends just because you eliminated that idiot ogre. If you surrender and serve me as your master now, not only will I spare your life, but I can also confer you the title of the ruler of this mainland. You just have to give me half of the origin source. No, it's all mine. Although the little dragon man did not understand what the origin source was, it remembered what its mother had said before. If a stranger asked for something from it, it must not agree to it no matter what it was. Refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit? A furious light flashed in the boy's dark eyes, and then he pounced at the little dragon man. The little dragon man immediately hugged its head and curled up into a meatball. It only used its golden dragon tail to counterattack the boy, and the two of them instantly got into a fight. Yun Jioga did not know that her son was being bullied in his dream. When she saw that her son had closed his eyes, she left quietly and came to the hall. "Sir, you're here." Wan Sha came to welcome her. "Who's waiting for me?" After Yun Jioga had asked Wan Sha to secretly summon back the maidservants from the divine palace, she had ordered that her former lovers were forbidden from finding her. "It's a tree spirit that I don't know. He said that you saved him in the mystic realm of the Een Spirit Mountain Range." Wan Sha saw that the tree spirit spoke in a logical manner, so he informed Yun Jioga. Tree spirit? Yun Jioga was puzzled. When did she help a tree spirit? When she saw the handsome man with green hair and green eyes standing in the hall, she remembered that she had helped a human-faced Peach King tree before. "Lady Goddess." The human-faced Peach King's eyes instantly lit up when he saw Yun Jioga. His green eyes shone with a gentle light, like grass that had been dipped in dew. "Sit. I didn't think that you would reach the divine transformation realm so quickly." Yun Jioga remembered that when the human-faced Peach King left the mystic realm, he was only at the golden core realm. If not for a huge fortuitous encounter, it would be impossible for him to reach the divine transformation realm so quickly. After we parted ways in the mystic realm, I obtained other fortuitous encounters. That was why I was lucky enough to reach the divine transformation realm. The human-faced Peach King's smile was a little bashful. He wanted to look at Yun Jioga, but he did not dare to. "Why are you looking for me?" Yun Jioga did not have many feelings for the human-faced Peach King. "Today, I was entrusted by someone to come and find Lady Goddess." The human-faced Peach King also became serious when it came to business. Entrusted by who? Yun Jioga frowned slightly. Countless names flashed through her mind. "I was entrusted by Lord Fan Een to come and see you." The human-faced Peach King's greatest wish in this life was to see Yun Jioga again. That was why Fan Een had helped him with his tribulation. He's quite scheming. Ever since Yun Jioga returned to the Divine Palace, Fan Een had sent countless invitations to see her. However, Yun Jioga had rejected all of them. Yun Jioga knew very well what Fan Een wanted to say to her. It was undoubtedly about the calamity and the lives of the world. However, she had already said that she did not want to care about it, so she did not want to see him. The human-faced Peach King gathered his courage and said, "Lady Goddess, Lord Fan Een asked me to help you pass on a message. He said that he did not want to see you to talk about the calamity and the lives of the world. Instead, he really misses you. He hopes that you can give him a chance to see you." Yun Jioga stood up and said, "Go back and tell him that if I want to see him, I will naturally go and find him. Wan Sha, see him off." Wan Sha walked in front of the human-faced Peach King and was about to take him away. At this time, the human-faced Peach King suddenly gathered his courage and asked Yun Jioga another question. "Lady Goddess, I heard that you are looking for a male pet. I wonder if I have the chance to fight for it?" Chapter 554. Hearing this, Yun Jioga narrowed his phoenix eyes and asked in an unfriendly tone, "Who told you this?" The human-faced Peach King had just ascended, so he should not know about the foolish things he had done in the past. It was also impossible for Sanskrit to tell him this. "It was Demon King Hua Manchu who told me." Seeing Yun Jioga's ugly expression, the human-faced Peach King knew that the information he had received was wrong. He was curious as to why Hua Manchu, with his cold and indifferent face, would tell him such a private gossip. Is that guy courting death? He actually dares to spread such nonsense. Although Yun-jyoga gritted his teeth, he could not vent his anger on the human-faced Peach King. He could only say, "Don't listen to his nonsense. My harem already has a master." "I misunderstood." The human-faced Peach King was ashamed. His white face instantly turned red, and he was so nervous that he did not know where to place his hands. The divine world of the Azure Wave continent is not a peaceful place. You should be more careful in the future. Don't trust others so easily. Looking at their past relationship, Yun-jyoga kindly gave the human-faced Peach King a suggestion. "Lady Goddess is right." The human-faced Peach King nodded repeatedly. He treated Yun-jyoga's words as the truth, deeply imprinting them in his heart. "Please." Wansha raised his hand impatiently. If he had known that the tree spirit was Sanskrit's envoy, he would not have let him in. "Yes, Lady Goddess. I'll take my leave first." The human-faced Peach King left dejectedly with the shattered peach heart. After Wansha sent the human-faced Peach King away, he quickly returned to Yun-jyoga's side. "Didn't I tell you to send a message to abolish the Divine Palace's order to accept male pets?" Yun-jyoga asked while suppressing his anger. "This subordinate has already sent your order, but they do not believe me. I can't do anything about it." Wansha felt very sullen. Those fellows were all extremely stubborn and did not believe his words. They even wanted to ask the Lady Goddess face to face. Damn it. Yun-jyoga truly regretted the absurd decision she had made back then. Although she had already absorbed the divine spark, her divine power had not completely recovered. Furthermore, she did not have the face to go out and clean up that mess. In her previous life, she was emotionless. No matter who fell in love with her heart could not be shaken. In this life, she suddenly woke up and did not have the face to face those male pets whose hearts she had hurt. "Should we spread the news about the crown prince?" Wansha suggested. Back then, Yun-jyoga had taken in a male pet in order to give birth to the child of life. Now that she had a child, she no longer needed a male pet. No, Long-er's identity must be kept a secret. Yun-jyoga flatly refused. After she returned to the Divine Palace, she shut herself in and didn't go out. Even the palace maids were replaced by puppets. This was to prevent Long-er's identity from being revealed. Long-er was too young, and Zishang had not recovered. She was afraid that she would not be able to protect them. But the paper cannot contain the fire. Wansha frowned. Ever since Yun-jyoga had been reincarnated and sealed off the Divine Palace, the power of the Divine Palace had been far from what it used to be. Although he had brought back 500 demons to protect him, it was difficult to stop those people from tracking him down. Let's talk about it when the time comes. Zishang needed time to recover, and she also needed time to recuperate. If she hid it now and didn't let others see through her, it would save her a lot of trouble. Fine. What do you plan to do with the Fairy Empress? That guy deliberately spread the news. He clearly wants to go against the Divine Palace. Wansha was also annoyed by him. How long can the Lotus Hall's spirit water last? Yun-jyoga asked. About 3 more months. The spirit water was a tribute from the previous flower fairies. Zishang had almost used up all of it. If she wanted to continue, she would have to find the flower fairies, but everything about the flower fairies was under the Fairy Empress' control. Make the arrangements. I will go to the fairy forest to find Hua Manchu tonight. Yun-jyoga sighed heavily. The flower spirit dew was necessary for Zishang's recovery. She had to see the Fairy Empress. Do you want me to go with you? Wansha was worried that Hua Manchu would mess around. No, you stay and look after the Divine Palace. Yun-jyoga shook her head. The only person she could trust now was Wansha. Then what about the little prince? It will take at least 2 days to go from the Divine Palace to the fairy forest. We can't coax him. Wansha had experienced the little prince's loud voice. This child was too attached to his mother. If he didn't see his mother when he woke up, he would cry his heart out. When the time comes, I will give him 3 days of peace. Yun-jyoga made up her mind. Usually, newborn dragons spent their puberty in sleep, but her son did the opposite. He did not like to sleep at all. Every time, she had to coax him to sleep. It was not good for his body. She usually spoiled him and could not bear to scold him. This time, she would take the opportunity to let him have a good rest. Okay, then I will prepare the carriage now. Wan Sha bowed and retreated. Yun Jioga sat in the main hall for a while, then walked towards the Golden Dragon Palace. Do was preparing to boil the spirit dew for the little master to drink. When she saw Yun Jioga coming in, she quickly bowed. Is the little prince awake? Yun Jioga asked in a low voice. The little prince is sleeping soundly today. He has not woken up yet. Ching also replied in a low voice. Okay, go do what you need to do. Yun Jioga slowed down and walked towards the inner hall. Her long red dress fluttered on the white jade tiles, emitting a unique fragrance. The little dragon man was fighting with the little boy in its dream. It had developed to the point of grabbing its hair and pinching its nose. The moment it smelled its mother's unique fragrance, it immediately kicked the little boy who was on top of it and got up from the ground. My mother is back. I'm not playing with you anymore, the little dragon man said while panting. Don't go. I haven't had my fill yet. The little boy widened his eyes and reached out to pull the little dragon man. Who cares about you? The little dragon man made a face at the little boy and immediately disappeared. The little boy stomped his feet angrily, but he was helplessly expelled by the little dragon man's dream and returned to his body. Your Highness, you are awake? The demonic servant Liar's careful voice sounded in the bedroom. He slowly opened his eyes, and what he saw was a curtain made of sea crystal silk. The demonic patterns on it were like twinkling stars. The little boy lifted the black blanket covering his body and drifted away from the large bed to sit on a wheelchair made of Hades' white bones. His bedroom was very spacious and could accommodate 500 people at the same time. The walls were as deep as the deep sea, and only the moonstones embedded in the walls emitted a faint glow. At this moment, the demonic servant Liar was kneeling on one knee on the ground. His tall body, which was covered with black scales, was even taller than him who was sitting. Liar, have Father Emperor and Mother Queen returned? The little boy waved his hand and a blanket embroidered with demonic spirit flowers flew over and covered his numb leg. Replying to Your Highness, King and Queen have not returned yet, Liar replied in a muffled voice. Then, have you found the way to Blue Wave's continent? The little boy used his hand to push the white bone wheelchair to the front of Liar. Chapter 555. Your Highness, it is not easy to find an ancient devil body that can be used as the key. We are trying to find a way. Liar was so ashamed that he didn't dare to raise his head. They thought that Azure Wave Continent was just a lower realm and they could take it down as long as they avoided the eyes and ears of the Outer World Alliance. They didn't expect Ogre's Heaven Soul Lamp to extinguish. This meant that the opening of the passage had failed. Ogre was born with the Void Devil body and was the best key to open the space passage. They thought that Ogre would succeed, so they didn't prepare any other keys. They couldn't find a suitable target in such a short time. You should know that my legs can't wait for long. The little boy's face was gloomy. The black horn on his head was flashing with terrifying light. Your Highness, don't worry. We are already looking. We should have news soon. Liar's cold sweat dripped down. This crown prince became more and more violent after his legs were cursed and lost their vitality. He often killed people. Get lost. The little boy ordered coldly. Liar immediately bowed and left as if he came back to life. In the blink of an eye, only the little boy was left in the empty hall. His gaze swept across the various toys in the hall and finally returned to the big bed. Forget it, I will go to that little guy's dream to play with him. The little boy muttered to himself. As the only inheritor of the ancient devil race, his status was extremely noble. No other devil dared to be impudent in front of him. They didn't even dare to speak loudly. In order to break the curse on him, his father and mother racked their brains. They thought about how to plunder the origin power of the lower realm to help him break the curse. They were so busy that they didn't even have time to talk to him. Because of his curse, he could only live in this dark deep-sea demon palace. The demonic servants that served him would only tremble when they saw him. They were completely uninteresting. until he entered the dream of the little dragon man to investigate the cause of Ogre's death. This was the first time someone dared to quarrel with him. It was a new feeling. He wanted to continue trying. After the little dragon man woke up, it hugged Yunjyoga's neck and cried, "Mother, there is a bad guy in the dream who always comes to find trouble with me. He wants to steal my treasure." "What does the bad guy look like?" Yunjyoga asked while gesturing to Qing to bring over the spirit milk. "It's black. The horns on its head are also black." The little dragon man touched its golden forked horns and said rather proudly, "Not as pretty as baby." "Then it must be jealous of our baby's pretty little horn, so it came to bully you. Come, baby, drink some spirit milk." Yunjyoga handed the crystal cup to his son. "That must be it. Mother, you are too smart." The little dragon man happily hugged the big cup and gulped down a big mouthful of milk, leaving a circle of white milk foam on its little mouth. "His horns are ugly. You can't make fun of him. Try to be good friends with him next time." Yunjyoga picked up the soft silk handkerchief to wipe his son's mouth, not realizing what he had said at all. "All right." The little dragon man nodded reluctantly. He was a good baby and would do whatever his mother said. "All right, after you're done drinking, go find the little cute baby and Feifei to play with." Yunjyoga picked up his son and put him on the ground. After returning to the divine palace, she put the demonic tripod back into the myriad flower spirit garden. Xiao Chao, Feifei and treasure-seeking scorpion were also placed there to live. The little dragon man often went to play with them, but only Xiao Chao could play with it. The little cute baby looked like a kid on the outside, but it had experienced the vicissitudes of life on the inside. It always regarded itself as Xiao Cao's elder and talked about great principles, which was especially annoying. Meanwhile, Feifei fell in love with the work of converting death aura after going to the mystic realm, so Yunjyoga sent it to the demonic realm of the divine palace to train. The female scorpion got pregnant not long after coming to the divine palace. The treasure-seeking scorpion was both happy and worried, so it stayed by his wife's side every day. Yunjyoga had already promised the little dragon man that she would let the little scorpion be its spirit pet after it was born. As for the ingrate's eyeball that she collected in the mystic realm, she gave it to Wan Sha as a pet. She heard that it was living well and had already grown another eyeball. "Let's go and see the scorpion baby." The little dragon man immediately ran towards the myriad flower spirit garden happily. Touching the belly of the female scorpion every day and greeting its future spirit pet had become its new hobby. Yunjyoga didn't accompany her son to the myriad flower spirit garden. Instead, she went to the lotus hall. The white egg that Zishang had transformed into was as big as a person's face. It was placed vertically in the spirit water. When it saw Yunjyoga, the eggshell started to glow slightly, fully expressing its joy. Yunjyoga took off her gorgeous outer robe, kicked off her red phoenix-winged satin shoes, and walked into the lotus pond barefooted. She hugged Zishang's egg and told him about the visit of the human-faced Peach King. "That Fanning guy is really annoying. I already said that I don't care about the matters of the mortal world, but he still keeps nagging me." Yunjyoga's tone was slightly irritated. She had already done enough. The rest could only be left to the mortal world's cultivators to think of a solution. Zishang's eggshell became a little warmer, as if it was comforting Yunjyoga's irritated mood. Yunjyoga immediately felt a little better. Then she said, "There's not enough spirit water anymore. I'm going to find that guy Hua Manchu to get some more. If I can get some spirit stones, you can recover faster." Zishang immediately shook its eggshell with force, as if it was strongly objecting. "What are you worried about? There's nothing between me and him." Yunjyoga patted Zishang's eggshell, annoyed and amused. Although the fairy king had come to stay in her harem for a few nights, she had only interacted with him. Later, Yunjyoga realized that he was not a good breeding partner, so she rejected him. It was just that he was not willing to give up. Zishang still did not agree. Its eggshell flickered, and it was very agitated. "This time, I'm going to explain things clearly to him, so that he will completely give up." Yunjyoga's previous refusal was not firm, which was why the fairy king still had a sliver of hope. It was all her fault. Zishang shook even more violently. All right, stay here and recuperate. Try to appear as soon as possible. I'll be back in 3 days. Yun Jioga got up and left the lotus pond. She had just put on her shoes and outer robe when she heard the sound of the lotus spirit water splashing. She turned her head and saw that Zishang had actually sucked up all the spirit water, then shrunk into a palm-sized white egg and flew towards Yun Jioga. What are you doing? Yun Jioga grabbed him and roared angrily. The spirit water was still enough for 3 months. It was such a waste for Zishang to suck it up all at once. Zishang did not speak. He clung tightly to Yun Jioga's palm, expressing his attitude that he would rather die than go with her. Aren't you looking for a beating if you go out like this? Yun Jioga was helpless. Why did she not realize that Zishang was so jealous before? Zishang ignored her and refused to leave. He would not let his wife meet her former lover alone. You can come with me, but don't mess around. Yun Jioga saw that the lotus pond water had dried up. There was no point in keeping Zishang. Since he was worried, she could only bring him along. Hopefully, this trip would go smoothly. Chapter 556. Yun Jioga put the purple deceased sword in his arms and went to Myriad Flower Spirit Garden to find his son. Ever since the little baby experienced the predicament of food shortage in the mystic realm, he consciously planted edible flowers and plants after returning to Myriad Flower Spirit Garden. From afar, one could see green thorny flowers wrapped around the periphery, sweet fruits dotted it, white dancing spirit flowers that looked like cotton candy fluttered in the air, and a swing made of red willow branches swayed in it. The little dragon man was playing a game of candy ball with Xiao Chao at the moment. A colorful fruit the size of a human head was quickly passed between them, leaving a series of afterimages. Xiao Chao was agile and could catch the ball no matter where the little dragon man threw it to. However, the little dragon man had an advantage over him. After all, he had an extra tail, and the little golden tail was more agile than his hands and feet. The colorful fruit slowly turned red as the two of them hit each other, and finally emitted a sweet fragrance. Okay, you can eat it, the little baby shouted, and the big red fruit floated in front of him. I want to leave it for Mother. I want to leave it for Master, the two little guys said in unison. This is a must, the little baby shouted loudly. Then he smiled fawningly at Yun Jioga, who was walking towards the garden. Right, Master? You two are filial. I did not dote on you for nothing. Yun Jioga walked into the garden leisurely. The little dragon man and Xiao Chao pounced over together. Xiao Chao was better. The sweat turned into demonic aura and returned to her body, and not a single bit was wasted. However, the little dragon man seemed to be fished out of the water. The golden sweat dripped into the soil and was quickly absorbed. What fruit is this? Yun Jioga took the red fruit from the little baby's hand. There were 7-star runes on the fruit skin with an inexplicable charm. This is the 7-star fruit. It blooms every 700 years and bears fruit every 700 years. The fruit needs to absorb the purest vitality to ripen. This was planted by the little baby in Myriad Flower Spirit Garden a long time ago. It happened to ripen when he returned this time, so he caught the two little guys to help. How many more 7-star fruits do you have here? Yun Jioga remembered that the fairy empress Hua Manchu once said that the 7-star fruit was helpful to his cultivation technique. He could use this to exchange for the flower spirit water. Very many. The little adorable child pointed behind him. The clouds and mist dissipated, revealing a straight black tree. 7 black tree trunks grew out evenly. There were no leaves on them, only colorful fruits hanging on them. They shone like small lanterns. There were at least 1,000 of them. Put up 50 of them, Yun Jioga said to the little baby. You want to give it away? The little cute baby looked surprised. It had always been others who fawned on the divine palace. It had never been the divine palace who used things to fawn on others. It's not a gift, it's a trade. Yun Jioga told her that he wanted to exchange the 7-star fruit with the fairy king for the floral fairy water. Can't we just let them pay the tribute? The little cute baby didn't understand. It was their honor that the divine palace wanted to use their things. Not good. Yun Jyoga glared at the little baby. Things were different now. The power of the divine palace was not as good as it used to be. Sooner or later, it would lead to a disaster. All right. The little cute child curled his lips and waved his hand. 57-star fruits flew over and fell into a basket made of red willow branches. Are we going to trade this too? The little dragon man looked at the red and fragrant fruit reluctantly. It took him and Xiao Qiao a lot of effort to make it ripe. Even his mother hadn't tasted it yet. No, we'll eat this ourselves. Yun Jyoga broke the 7-star fruit. The seed inside was like a condensed ruby, emitting pure energy. The little cute child didn't eat it. The big part was eaten by the little dragon man and Xiao Qiao, and some was left for the treasure-seeking scorpion couple. Just bring 10 of them to exchange for it. After Yun Jyoga ate it, he immediately changed his mind. A fruit full of energy like this could make a mortal cultivator soar into the sky. 5 is enough. The floral fairy water isn't something valuable. The little cute child was more stingy than Yun Jyoga. The income of the divine palace was too low now, so he had to save money. Okay, 5 it is. Yun Jyoga put the red willow basket into his mustard space, then picked up the little dragon man and kissed it. Baby, it's time to take a bath and sleep. Xiao Qiao, cute child, I'll come and play with you tomorrow. The little dragon man waved to his friends and returned to the Golden Dragon Palace hall with his arms around his mother's neck. Chingu, prepare the bath. The little prince is going to take a bath later. Yun Jyoga instructed. Smashing was drenched in sweat, so its scales had to be washed properly. Ching immediately retreated. Yun Jyoga accompanied the little dragon man for dinner and took him to the bath. The golden bath was inlaid with 4 diamond-studded dragon heads that could spray water. The bottom of the pool was shining, reflecting the warm water with a golden glow. The little dragon man jumped into the water with a bang, creating a huge splash. Then, it swam happily in the pool, having a great time. The purple deceased sword rolled out of Yun Jyoga's pocket and fell into the water, following beside, smashing. But Dan, the little dragon man subconsciously pounced over, wanting to grab Dan and play an egg-tossing game with his mother. Be careful. Yun Jyoga's heart immediately jumped. She knew very well how much strength smashing was using. If smashing the purple deceased sword into pieces, then he would have to bear the crime of patricide. Although smashing had already turned into a white egg, its movements were still extremely agile. It squirmed around in the water, not letting smashing succeed. The little dragon man was playing crazily. The water splashed everywhere, drenching Yun Jyoga. All right, both of you stop. Yun Jyoga wiped the bath water off his face and was about to jump into the pool to deal with the father and son. However, smashing formed the word in the pool and continued to tempt smashing to chase after him. Yun Jyoga observed carefully and discovered smashing's movements in the pool. He discovered that its movements in the pool were extremely rhythmic, and the pool water turned into a lifelike dragon shape. After smashing chased smashing a few rounds around the white egg, a beam of golden light suddenly flashed on its forehead and continuously extended downwards. Then, the long-tailed fat dragon man immediately turned into a dragon shape. Its long whiskers fluttered, its scales shone, and its 5 claws were powerful. Previously, Yun Jyoga had been worried that smashing did not know how to transform. However, when she asked the Dragon Clan privately, they could not tell what was going on. This was because the Dragon Clan had never produced a golden dragon with divine power. Now that she saw smashing successfully transforming into a dragon, she finally relaxed. For a milk dragon, maintaining its original form was the most comfortable. When smashing saw that his son had finally learned how to transform into a dragon, smashing immediately flew back into Yun Jyoga's pocket. He was just an egg now, and the running just now was really killing him. Still playing, still playing. The little golden dragon wagged its head and tail in the pool water. It was in high spirits and did not feel tired at all. I'm not playing anymore. Hurry and lie down. I'll help you brush your scales. Yun Jyoga forcefully dragged smashing, to the shore and began to brush his scales. Chapter 557. Yun-jyoga's movements were very gentle. The brush he used to brush the scales was made from a 1,000-year-old gourd, and the bottom was inlaid with a gold base. My son was very infatuated with gold and gemstones. If it wasn't for the gold base, it wouldn't have let the gourd scoop on its body. The little golden dragon was so comfortable that it closed its eyes and started to doze off. The purple deceased sword rolled out of her pocket again and floated to my son's side before gently touching its little horn. Yun-jyoga also touched the purple deceased sword. It was hard on him to worry about his son's transformation in this state. After cleaning my son, Yun-jyoga wrapped it in a bath towel and placed it on the magnificent bed. Then, he dripped a few drops of spiritual milk into it before putting it next to my son's mouth and coaxing, "Be good, baby. Drink the spiritual milk first before sleeping." The little golden dragon closed its eyes and finished drinking the spiritual milk. After rinsing its mouth, it fell into a deep sleep. "Good baby, have a good sleep. You'll see me when you wake up." Yun-jyoga lowered his head and kissed my son's face. The purple deceased sword also touched his son's forehead. Before Yun-jyoga left, he covered all the luminous pearls in the house, leaving only the scorpion-shaped floor lamp on the floor. The little dragon man fell into a deep sleep. As it had too much fun in the Myriad Flowers Spirit Garden today, the same scene appeared in its dream, except that its mother's jade statue was placed at the door. However, there was a big white egg in the statue's hand this time. "Xiao Chao Menghua, quickly come out and play with me." The little dragon man plucked 2 unripened 7-star fruits from the 7-star tree and began to call its partners to play. Unfortunately, Xiao Chao and Menghua didn't appear in the dream, but a black hole. The ancient demon crown prince with a black horn on his head snuck into the little dragon man's dream again. This was the only place where he could get rid of the curse. "Why are you here again?" The little dragon man frowned and felt that its mood had become very bad. "I come whenever I want. What can you do to help me?" The crown prince raised his eyebrows and sized up the little dragon man's dream. Compared to the gaudy golden and gemstone-filled place before, this flower garden was obviously more interesting. The little dragon man really hated this fellow in front of it. Just as it clenched its little fist and was about to go forward to fight, it suddenly recalled what its mother had said previously. "His horns are ugly, so you mustn't make fun of him. Try to be good friends with him next time." The little dragon man tilted its head and looked at the black sharp horn on the crown prince's head. It was really ugly. There seemed to be a whirlpool at the top of the horn, and it was an eyesore. "What are you looking at?" The crown prince glared at him in an unfriendly manner. Ever since he was cursed, the horns on his head had turned black. The spiral patterns on them were the marks left behind by the curse. That was why he hated it when people stared at his horns. "Nothing much." The little dragon man shifted its gaze and awkwardly handed over the 7-star fruit in its hand. "Do you want to play with me?" it asked softly. The crown prince's gaze shifted to the big, brightly colored fruit. Although he didn't know how to play, he still said proudly, "Since you are so sincere, I will reluctantly play with you." "Okay, then I'll hit it. You have to catch it." The little dragon man excitedly kicked the 7-star fruit in the direction of the crown prince. The crown prince reacted very quickly and kicked it back. The two of them kicked back and forth a few times. The crown prince's powerful mental strength was displayed, and the angle of his kick was extremely tricky. The little dragon man almost failed to catch it a few times. In the end, it transformed into the little golden dragon and barely managed to hold on. The ancient black demon race was the best at training soul power. The fruit that the crown prince kicked out contained powerful soul power, and the little golden dragon rapidly increased its soul power while playing with him. The two of them were having a good time until the crown prince accidentally kicked the fruit outside and smashed Yun-jyoga's jade statue. "Mother." The little golden dragon stared blankly at his mother's jade statue that was separated from her head. "Isn't it just a broken jade statue? What's so great about it?" The crown prince was habitually arrogant. However, the little golden dragon was furious. With a wave of its tail, it pounced at the crown prince. The friendship that could have developed into a friendly relationship was instantly broken. Yun-jyoga didn't know that her son had quarreled with the crown prince of the ancient black demon race again. She took Zishang on the cloud sea spirit boat that Wansha had prepared for her and flew towards the fairy forest. At this time, it was already late at night. The deep blue sky was dotted with countless stars. The clear night wind passed through the defensive barrier and gently blew on Yun-jyoga's face. She stood at the bow of the ship with Zishang beside her, quietly admiring the boundless and beautiful night scenery. Do you still remember the days when we were patrolling? How glorious was that? Now we are in such dire straits. Yun-jyoga sighed. At that time, when she was patrolling with the identity of the goddess, she had 7 spirit boats escorting her. Everywhere she went, tens of thousands of people worshipped her. The divine palace was a supreme existence to the races and tribes of the world. Now, she was traveling alone with Zishang. On the ship, there were only puppet servants created by the divine palace, and the guards were yellow turban warriors. Compared to the past, it was simply miserable. And this time, it was all because after the calamity descended, she sacrificed herself to mend the heavens and seal the divine palace. She lost everything for the Azure Waves continent. When she returned to the divine palace, she found that she was surrounded by a pack of wolves, and they were all eyeing the weakened divine palace covetously. She couldn't help but reflect on whether she was wrong to be so noble in the past. Zishang flew to her shoulder and put his eggshell on her face to comfort her silently. It's okay, I just said it casually. Although I lost everything in the divine palace, at least I still have Long-er and you by my side. Yun-jyoga quickly pulled herself together. As long as Zishang could recover his former strength, there was nothing to regret. We still have to fly for one night before reaching the Demonis forest. Let's go and have a good rest first. Yun-jyoga hugged Zishang in her arms and entered the house to rest. Just as Yun-jyoga was in a daze, the flying boat stopped abruptly as if it had hit a rock. She instantly woke up, opened the house, and walked out. She saw that the flying ship had been forced to stop, and the yellow turban warriors and puppet maids were surrounding the cabin, preparing for battle. Outside the flying ship, there was a huge green net, and around it were 2 rows of demonic spirits holding long tridents. They were beautiful, had colorful hair, and had wings on their backs. The man standing at the bow of the ship had long silver hair, a beautiful and exquisite face, and slender eyes that emitted light. It was hard to distinguish whether he was a man or a woman. He was wearing a gorgeous green cloak embroidered with all kinds of flowers and trees, showing his noble identity. Demonis Empress, Hua Manchu. Hua Manchu, what is the meaning of you stopping my flying ship? Yun-jyoga floated in the air, and a red cloak embroidered with a soaring phoenix hung down, emitting a majestic and sacred light. Didn't you come to find me? I just came to greet you personally, Your Highness Goddess. Hua Manchu's voice was very pleasant, like the singing of a nightingale. Is that so? Why do I feel like you are here to find trouble? Yun-jyoga looked around at the demonic spirit warriors surrounding the flying ship. That cold golden long hair didn't seem to be here to greet her. Chapter 558. Your Highness, ever since you rejected me, my heart has shattered into countless pieces like a glass flower. It was only when I heard that you were coming to find me that it started beating again. Hua Manchu raised her slender chin and raised her hand to look at the sky. The green cloak behind her fluttered without any wind, and the shadows of flowers bloomed one after another. All that was left was to float out pink bubbles. Then let it continue to shatter. Yun-jyoga said expressionlessly. You're good at everything, but you're a little out of your mind. That's why you were kicked out of the harem back then. My dear Royal Highness, your words really hurt my heart. Hua Manchu covered his chest and said in a poetic tone, although you are very heartless, I still love you. I have already arranged a banquet for you in the fairy forest, and I hope that you will do me the honor of coming. After saying that, he bowed, full of sincerity. Yun-jyoga looked around and saw that the fairy warriors had already occupied a 5-kilometer radius. It would be very difficult to fight their way out with the cannon fire on the boat. Furthermore, she did not want to fall out with Hua Manchu. The purple deceased sword moved in Yun Jioga's pocket, as if it wanted to fly out to teach Hua Manchu a lesson. Yun Jioga raised her hand to stop him, then looked at Hua Manchu. What if I don't go? Then I'll be very, very sad. Who knows, I might do something irreversible. Hua Manchu placed his hand on his chest, a worried expression on his beautiful face. The fairy warriors behind him raised their spears in unison and made threatening sounds at the spirit boat. Little Hua, I have to say, you're getting more and more disgusting. Yun Jioga exhaled, pressed the purple deceased sword hard into his pocket, then said to Hua Manchu, let's go. It's my honor. Hua Manchu took off the green cloak behind him and shook it, turning it into a red flying carpet. Beautiful flowers surrounded it, and tall lantern trees rose up, dropping red lanterns the size of one's head, illuminating the flying carpet like a bridal chamber. Please. Hua Manchu took the lead and stepped on the carpet of roses. Yun Jioga put away the spirit boat, then added a barrier to the purple deceased sword, then followed Hua Manchu in. The flourishing green trees formed a transparent barrier, blocking all the fairy warriors outside. Yun Jioga arrived under a lantern tree and raised his hand to strike a golden imprint at Hua Manchu. The flower-shaped mark quickly burrowed into Hua Manchu's forehead. He shivered and slowly opened his eyes. A flower-shaped light flashed faintly in his pupils before disappearing. No one knew that Hua Manchu, the fairy king, was her servant who had signed a soul contract. He had entered the harem to complete the contract. It's been 2,000 years. I've finally gotten my body back. Hua Manchu's tone and expression had become sharp, a stark contrast to his previous seductive demeanor. Don't make it sound like you've been obediently staying in the seal. Yun Jioga glanced at him and said, Tell me, what's going on? Who sent you to capture me? No one asked me to capture you. I came here on my own. Hua Manchu waved his hand and a set of white jade tables and chairs appeared under the lantern tree. After sitting down, he waved at Yun Jioga. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. If you don't make it clear, believe it or not, I'll beat you up. Yun Jioga crossed his arms over his chest and looked at Hua Manchu unkindly. You're still as bad-tempered as before. I thought you'd change a little after reincarnating twice. Hua Manchu took out a blue and white porcelain tea set and poured himself a cup of fragrant tea before saying, Someone is spreading rumors that after you and Zishang gave birth to the child of life, your divine spark is unstable. As long as you're killed, you'll be able to obtain the divine spark. Now, all the major forces are eyeing you covetously. Who's spreading this rumor? Yun Jioga frowned. There were many people who wanted to become gods. This rumor was too vicious. They said it's Wan Sha. Hua Manchu took a sip of tea. Impossible. Yun Jioga shook his head. She had left a divine sense imprint on Wan Sha. If he dared to betray her, he would immediately turn into ashes. I know it's not him. But everyone is spreading this rumor. It should be the mastermind behind the scenes trying to sow discord between you two. Hua Manchu certainly knew that it was not Wan Sha. That guy did not have such a brain. Other than here, where else received this news? Yun Jioga asked. He had to understand his situation. There are too many. Spirit race, dragon race, devil race, human race, demonic race. Hua Manchu counted with his fingers with a serious expression. Enough. Yun Jioga held his head with a headache. Originally, he thought that everything would be fine after getting rid of Aogu. He didn't expect there to be so many troubles waiting for him. During the period when you sealed the Divine Palace and reincarnated, our Azure Wave domain was not peaceful. I suspect that a dark force wants to replace the existence of the Divine Palace. That's why they deliberately created this catastrophe. Hua Manchu said solemnly, You are saying that someone deliberately leaked the news of the Azure Wave continent to lure the ancient Black Devil race over? Yun Jioga gritted his teeth. Who exactly did this? Didn't he know that this would bring about a calamity? It's very possible. Otherwise, we have been fine for thousands of years. Why would there suddenly be an omen of a catastrophe? And this omen even indicated that you have to make up for the birth of a child to avoid it? Hua Manchu raised his slender and exquisite face. This made his refined and beautiful face look a little sarcastic. Back then, he strongly opposed Yunjioga collecting male pets to give birth to a child of life. He even tried to persuade her not to seal the divine palace. Unfortunately, Yunjioga turned a deaf ear to his words. Yunjioga even felt that he was too long-winded. She sealed his main soul and let that idiot secondary soul that only knew how to eat, drink, and be the leader. However, it was also thanks to this idiot secondary soul acting crazy for 2,000 years that he successfully joined the anti-divine palace camp. Who is the mastermind behind this? Yunjioga sat in front of Hua Manchu. The divine palace had been established for 5,000 years. After she became the goddess and arrived at the Cauldron Peak, there were countless enemies. There were too many who wanted to replace the divine palace, but there were only a few who had the ability. I don't know. But we can use the elimination method first. First, our demonic race is not. Hua Manchu put down his teacup and poured a cup of spirit tea for Yunjioga. The demon race isn't either. They don't have such a brain. Wan Sha said that when he went back to be the patriarch, he didn't find any particularly awesome or rebellious demon race. Yunjioga picked up the cup and took a sip. Those muscular fellows of the demon race are only interested in fighting and killing. It shouldn't be them. Hua Manchu nodded. The demon race wouldn't want to replace the divine palace. They would only rack their brains to build the demon palace. The dragon race can also be eliminated. They only like treasures and have no interest in ruling the continent. Yunjioga thought of her child. Since birth, Dragon Ball had displayed a miserly and greedy personality. Every day, it would think about how to sleep in the treasure. It was too difficult to think of replacing the divine palace to rule the continent. Chapter 559. That leaves the Spirit Clan, the Demon Clan, and the Human Clan. Ever since Yu Ling committed suicide, the Spirit Clan is in chaos. The Demon Clan is also without a leader. The Human Clan is fighting each other every day. Hua Manlu sighed. Although they had narrowed the scope to this extent, it was still very difficult to investigate. Yu Ling was tricked by the ancient demon race. Yunjioga felt bad thinking about Yu Ling, who had been tricked to death. She had been to the spirit race once. It was indeed a mess. There hadn't been any good seedlings in 2,000 years. Yu Ling's sister, Yu Qing was from the royal family of the spirit race, but her talent was very poor. Plus, her sister had violated the spirit race's ancestral teachings and committed suicide, so the people looked down on her. She had no choice but to bring Yu Qing back to the palace and let her take care of the little dragon man. As for the monster race, they had always been led by the dragon race. Once Zishang recovered his strength, he could subdue them. The only thing she found strange was the human race. Fan Yin's cultivation was high and she had always been responsible for the world. Why couldn't she settle the world? Right, I heard you and Zishang had the Son of Life. Is that true? Hua Manchu raised his eyebrows and started gossiping. Yes, our son's nickname is Long. He is a very healthy little golden dragon. Yunjioga's expression and tone became gentle when she talked about her son. So you're sure it's Zishang now? Hua Manchu asked. Of course. Yunjioga nodded with certainty. Good, I said you two were a match made in heaven. You really gave birth to the Son of Life. Hua Manchu couldn't help but clap. He was really happy for Zishang. In his eyes, only his cousin Zishang was good enough for Yunjioga. I've been hiding this information very well. Only I, Wan Sha, and Qing know. How could it be leaked? Yunjioga felt strange. Wan Sha and Qing had her divine sense imprint. If they broke the rules, she would know immediately. She had set many restrictions on the palace. Even a message glyph couldn't fly out. Little Baby and the others were her spirit pets. They were locked up in Thousand Flower Spirit Garden every day. Didn't you say that ancient demon ogre was defeated by the crown prince in the primal chaos mystic realm? Could it have been there that the news was leaked? It's possible. Yunjioga recalled the eyeball he had given to Wan Sha. No, she had already thrown that fellow into the demonic tripod and sealed it before the little dragon man was born. Forget it, stop guessing. If it was so easy to guess, you wouldn't have suffered so miserably before. But since we've locked onto the range, we can beat it at its own game and lure it out. Hua Manchu whispered into Yun Jioga's ear. He had come to kidnap Yun Jioga with a plan in mind. Are you sure you want to do this? Yun Jioga looked at Hua Manchu suspiciously. Of course. Since everyone is saying that you have the scion of life, as long as we destroy this rumor, we will definitely be able to find the mastermind. Hua Manchu was very confident in his plan. But there's no need for me to marry you. Yun Jioga frowned. She and Zi Shang had yet to formally go through the wedding ceremony. This is just a fake marriage. I believe my cousin will agree after hearing it. Hua Manchu still felt wronged. He had lived for thousands of years and had never found a partner. Then you can ask him yourself. Yun Jioga took Zi Shang out of her pocket. What is this? Hua Manchu stared blankly at the white egg in front of him. This is your cousin, the demonic emperor of the dragon clan, Zi Shang. As soon as Yun Jioga finished speaking, Zi Shang flew up and fiercely flew towards Hua Manchu's head. Cousin, I know you miss me, but you don't have to be so excited. Hua Manchu touched his head and felt a huge bump. As expected of his cousin. Only a dragon egg would have such a hard shell. Zi Shang, Hua Manchu wants to marry me and then destroy the rumor of the scion of life to find the mastermind. Do you agree? Yun Jioga asked Zi Shang. Zi Shang flew up angrily and bumped into Hua Manchu's head. You saw it. Your cousin said he doesn't agree. Yun Jioga shrugged. As long as Zi Shang was jealous, there was nothing she could do. Cousin, listen to me. Hua Manchu covered his head and moved 5 meters away from Zi Shang before saying, this is just a temporary measure. It is impossible for me to marry Lady Goddess. This is all an act. Zi Shang clearly couldn't accept the act either. He flew over and bumped into him again. All right, Zi Shang. Your cousin is just being kind. Yun Jioga grabbed Zi Shang, who had lost control of himself, and pulled him into her embrace. Then she said to Hua Manchu, a fake marriage is fine. But you have to pay 100 bottles of flower spirit water and 10 flower spirit pearls. Let Zi Shang come out before the ceremony and let him replace you. Do I have to pay for my help? Hua Manchu felt wronged. He was able to be Zi Shang's cousin because he had the bloodline of the dragon clan. It was his instinct to be stingy. Of course I won't let you work for free. These 5 7-star fruits are the deposit. After this is done, I will give you 15 more as compensation. Yun Jioga took out the 7-star fruits from his storage bag. Deal. Hua Manchu's eyes lit up as he looked at the 7-star fruits. He immediately agreed. Let's go and give your cousin a bath now. Yun Jioga said. Hua Manchu quickly laid down the formation. He poured out 100 bottles of flower spirit water and 10 flower spirit pearls before putting Zi Shang in. There is still an hour before we reach the flower spirit forest. Do you want to rest first? Hua Manchu asked Yun Jioga. No need. The earlier we finish, the earlier we can go back. Yun Jioga was very worried about the God Palace. If her son woke up and couldn't see her, it would be terrible. I will have the messenger send out the invitations now. Hua Manchu took away the races that were already cleared of suspicion. In the end, he only sent invitations to the spirit race, the Yao race, and the human race. I also need to write a letter to the God Palace in case they think I was kidnapped. Yun Jioga wrote a simple letter to Wan Sha, telling him to close the God Palace and not care about anything else. The invitations were sent out as quickly as possible. The races that received the invitations were all incomparably shocked. No one thought that the Lady Goddess would come out of seclusion for a year to marry the Yao King Hua Manchu. The reason was to obtain the Son of Life. In the Yao tribe, the white-haired Yao elders called for an emergency meeting to discuss the truth of the matter. Didn't the Lady Goddess and Emperor Zi Shang successfully give birth to the Son of Life? Where did this Yao King come from? Who knows? Maybe the rumors were false. If the Son of Life was so easy to give birth to, the Lady Goddess wouldn't have used her body to mend the heavens and reincarnate. She even closed the god palace. Even so, there is no need to find Hua Manchu. What else can he do besides eat, drink, and play? Exactly. How could he do something that even Emperor Zishang couldn't do? Yes, there is no point in talking about it now. No matter what, the Lady Goddess's marriage is a big event. We must be there to congratulate her. I hope the Lady Goddess doesn't come down. That way the Yao race will still have a chance. The same conversations spread among the various races. Everyone said they would be there to support and then wait to see Hua Manchu get thrown away by the Lady Goddess. Chapter 560. In the vast and boundless Demonis forest, the Flower Soul Sea at the very center was Hua Manchu's private territory. This place was filled with tall serpentine trees, and at this moment, all kinds of red spirit flowers were blooming. Even butterflies were draped in red silk, flying through the trees filled with fine wine. There was a festive atmosphere everywhere. In the depths of the Flower Soul Sea, there was a stone cave that was Hua Manchu's cave abode. Countless barriers were set up inside and outside to prevent guests from accidentally entering. Yunjioga was wearing a gorgeous red robe with phoenix wings spread. She was lying in the cave abode's spirit pool, chatting with the purple Deci sword. Do you think anyone will fall for it? Yunjioga stirred the spirit water and poured it on the purple Deci sword's eggshell. The purple Deci sword shook the white eggshell, indicating that it did not know. There are only 4 hours until the wedding. It looks like you won't be able to make it in time. Yunjioga crushed a flower spirit pearl and rubbed it evenly on the purple Deci sword's eggshell. The eggshell emitted a faint pink light, and the flower spirit pearl was quickly absorbed. Just as Yunjioga was concentrating on rubbing the purple Deci sword, a faint sound came from the cave abode's entrance. Someone had come in. Yunjioga withdrew her hand and looked at the entrance cautiously. She saw a green vine come in through the entrance, wobbling in front of her. Yunjioga's heart skipped a beat. He put on a reprimanding face and said, "Tell Hua Manchu that even if he uses the Shen Palace to threaten me, I will not agree to marry him. Tell him to give up." "Your Highness, you were really forced by him." The green vine started to grow a pink peach blossom, and a familiar voice came from within. "Human-faced Peach King, why is it you?" Yunjioga stood up in surprise. The small peach blossom quickly formed a peach, revealing the human-faced Peach King's handsome face. "Your Highness, I'm here to save you. Are you all right? How did you know that I was captured?" Yunjioga's face was filled with confusion. She had thought that it would be one of the main suspects who would come to save her. Everyone says that Hua Manchu is extravagant and has no redeeming qualities. Unless he has something that can be used against you, there is no way you would marry him, the human-faced Peach King said anxiously. Yunjioga really didn't know what to say to the person who had sealed the Tree of Soul imprints and ruined his reputation. "Miss Yun, I spent a lot of effort to sneak in. Please come with me." The green vine rose into the air and transformed into the human-faced Peach King. "I'm very touched that you came to save me, but this is between me and Hua Manchu. You shouldn't have interfered." Yunjioga turned around and sat back down in the pool, his hands subconsciously stirring the water. Zishang had already sunk to the bottom of the pool when the green vines appeared. "Your Highness, I don't know what Hua Manchu is threatening you with, but even I know that with his strength, it is impossible for him to affect the foundation of Divine Palace." "He must be lying to you," the human-faced Peach King said anxiously. "You have just arrived at the deep sea realm and don't know anything." Yunjioga turned his head to look at the human-faced Peach King. He was wondering if the human-faced Peach King had run over on his own, or if he had been instigated by someone else. "I know. Lady Fan Yin told me a lot," the human-faced Peach King said hurriedly. "What did Fan Yin tell you?" Yunjioga frowned. "He told me that you are the greatest goddess in the world, and that you are willing to sacrifice yourself to save the common people. He also said that the people of the deep sea realm are eyeing you covetously, and he told me to protect you." The human-faced Peach King's expression was impassioned, and he was bragging even more than the emissary of Divine Palace. Yunjioga expressionlessly pulled on the wind bell flower in the corner. Hua Manchu, who was guarding outside, immediately rushed in with the warriors and pressed the human-faced Peach King to the ground. Stinking brat, I only accepted you into the clan because of your Sanskrit chant. I never thought that you would betray me. Men, lock him up in the dungeon. Hua Manchu was filled with righteous indignation. Hua Manchu, you actually dare to threaten Lady Goddess to marry you. You will not have a good ending. The human-faced Peach King struggled with all his might, but in the end he was still tied up and dragged away by the demon warriors. After everyone left, Hua Manchu withdrew his arrogant and despotic expression. He looked at Yunjioga helplessly and said, after keeping watch for an entire night, I only caught this stupid peach. How are the guests outside? Are there any strange movements? Yunjioga sighed. All of them are shouting that they want to beat me to death. Hua Manchu shrugged. But before they could confirm Yunjioga's true intentions, no one dared to make a move against him. Yunjioga sat back down beside the pool. Looking at the purple deceased sword that had appeared again, he thought for a moment and said, send a message. Tell them that after I marry you, I will give the position of Divine Palace Master to you. Is there a need to play so big? Hua Manchu's scalp went numb. Marriage was already going too far. And now he wanted to be the Divine Palace Master? Wasn't this putting him on a fire? If you don't sacrifice the child, you won't be able to catch the wolf. If they want to replace Divine Palace, they definitely won't stand by and watch as Divine Palace and the Fae unite. Right now, the enemy was in the dark while he was in the light. Only by stirring up this mess would he be able to force the mastermind to surface. Do I really have to do this? Hua Manchu struggled. Really? Yunjioga was absolutely certain. All right, wait until I strengthen the defenses, then I'll announce this stupid decision. Hua Manchu helplessly turned around. Signing a master-servant contract with Yunjioga was definitely the stupidest thing he had ever done in his life. But who told him to ask Yunjioga for help in the past? No matter how much of a scam he was going to make, he had no choice but to go down. Purple Deceased Sword, do you think Fan Yin is behind this? Yunjioga asked in a low voice as he fished out the purple deceased sword from the water. He didn't want it to be Fan Yin. If even he became the villain, then the world would truly fall into chaos. Purple deceased sword flew up and placed itself on Yunjioga's face to comfort him. Then, it flew back into the pool and began to vigorously absorb spiritual power. He didn't want to be trapped in this eggshell. He had to immediately go out and help Yunjioga. You can do it. I'm going out to help Hua Manchu stabilize the situation. Yunjioga picked up the phoenix coronet and placed it on his head. Then, he tidied up his robes and left the room. After the guests outside saw that Hua Manchu had increased the level of the barrier, they were complaining unhappily. Hua Manchu, what the hell are you doing? Are you trying to catch us all in one go? That's right. They said they were going to get married, but Lady Goddess hasn't come out yet. Don't tell me you've locked her up. Hurry up and let Lady Goddess out. If we don't hear Lady Goddess's promise today, don't blame us for tearing down your demoness forest. Everyone was making a ruckus, but Hua Manchu was calm. When he saw Yunjioga walking out of the cave abode, he flew to her side for a final confirmation. You really want to give the God Palace to me? I'm just borrowing it temporarily. Yunjioga glanced at Hua Manchu. Even if she announced in front of everyone that the God Palace had changed owners, she only had the Master God token in her hands. She could take it back at any time. Chapter 561. I just want you to take it back as soon as possible. Hua Manchu exhaled deeply. He wasn't interested in ruling the continent. He just hoped that these trivial matters would end soon so his subsoul could return to its days of eating, drinking, and playing. Let's go. Yunjioga raised her slender hand with a frosty expression. Her wide sleeves hung down, and the golden threads glowed faintly like swimming fishes. Hua Manchu gently held Yunjioga's finger as they appeared side by side above the fairy forest. Lady Goddess! The guests cheered when they saw Yunjioga. Yunjioga raised her hand, and the golden spiritual energy scattered around, bringing with it the unique pressure of a god. Everyone immediately quieted down respectfully. In their hearts, they thought that the rumors they had heard before were definitely fake. They said that the Lady Goddess Godhead was unstable. Wasn't that just awesome? Yun Jioga waited for everyone to quiet down before announcing her decision. She gave the divine palace to Hua Manchu. The guests were shocked at first, but then they started to talk like the tide. If Hua Manchu wasn't standing next to Yun Jioga, he would have been killed by the angry crowd. Your Highness, how about I go back to the divine palace with you tomorrow? Hua Manchu looked at the angry crowd. He felt his scalp go numb, and a chill ran down his spine. If you go back with me, how are you going to lure those killers out? Yun Jioga said expressionlessly. I will really die if I stay here. Hua Manchu's bitterness was about to overflow. You've been free for 2,000 years. Now it's time for you to show off. Yun Jioga glanced at Hua Manchu. Before she reincarnated, she purposely took Hua Manchu out so that he could save his energy and fight for her. Your Highness, I have to be alive to do that. Hua Manchu's face was bitter. He sighed and said that it wasn't easy to be a servant. If he had reincarnated with her, he wouldn't have had to face this annoying side. Add 10 more 7-star fruits, Yun Jioga said to Hua Manchu. 15. Hua Manchu immediately added. Take it or leave it. Yun Jioga wasn't going to back down. Deal. Hua Manchu was revived. He put on a fake expression and landed on the ground. He started to greet the guests. Yun Jioga saw that Hua Manchu had handled the situation well, so he returned to Yun Jioga's cave abode. Unexpectedly, when he entered, he saw that there were only 2 pieces of eggshell left in the pool. It was empty inside. Violet decease. Yun Jioga's soul almost flew out of his body. She hurriedly pinched her fingers to deduce Zishang's whereabouts, and discovered that he was in the Flower Soul Sea's Misty Shadow Valley, and immediately chased after him. In Misty Shadow Valley, a small black dragon as thick as an arm was hiding motionlessly in the mud. Around him were countless shadowy assassins who were conducting a carpet search. Great Emperor Zishang, our master is sincerely inviting you to be a guest. Please do me the honor and come with me. Don't hide, we've already seen you. If you obediently give in, we can still politely invite you over. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Don't you want to know who is looking for you? An ethereal voice rang out in Misty Shadow Valley, as if there were several people trying to persuade Zishang at the same time. However, Zishang knew very well that these were merely illusions that wanted to lure him out. Found you. A pair of large footprints appeared in front of Zishang. The boulder above his head was flipped over, and he appeared in front of the black figure after losing his shield. This black figure only had a blurry humanoid shape, and its facial features could not be seen clearly. It was obvious that it was a puppet. Look what I've found. Is this still the valiant and extraordinary great Emperor Zishang? Why has he become a pitiful black loach? The black shadow let out a carefree laugh, and then it raised its leg to stomp down at Zishang. Zishang, who was originally motionless, suddenly moved and brushed past the black figure's face. His tiny dragon claws grabbed onto something. Damn it. The black figure flew into a rage, and countless black lights flashed out, forming a giant net that enveloped Zishang's head. Zishang's figure flashed again and again. Although he avoided the giant net's attack, he was accidentally hit in the chest by a black figure and fell to the ground. Little Loach, be obedient and come with us. The black shadow puppet stretched out its large claws to grab Zishang, but it was pierced by a golden ray of light. Yun Jioga finally arrived. Seeing that Zishang had been attacked, he angrily summoned Thunderfire needles. Countless golden lights pierced through the black shadow puppet, burning it to pieces. The moment the puppet leader saw Yun Jioga appear, it spontaneously combusted and died. Zishang, are you all right? Yun Jioga went forward to pick Zishang up. I'm fine. Zishang shook his head, flew up to Yun Jioga, and showed her the thing on his claws. It was a black talisman with red runes on it. What is this? Yun Jioga asked, puzzled. I clawed this off the black figure's face. Zishang created a barrier, sealing the thing, and prepared to study it when he returned. How did they get in? Compared to the talisman, Yun Jioga was more concerned about Zishang's situation. I don't know. I was resting in the pool when the barrier suddenly split open, and those black figures crawled in. Zishang was very depressed. If he had recuperated properly, he would only need a week to return to peak condition. He hadn't expected to be forced to break out of his shell prematurely. Now, his dragon body was smaller than his son's. How embarrassing. As long as you're fine. Yun Jioga reached out to touch Zishang's head. Seeing the frustration on his face, he couldn't help comforting him. It's fine. You're very cute like this. Long, or will be very happy to see you. That's not good at all. Zishang's face darkened. He wouldn't let his son see him in such an embarrassing state even if he was beaten to death. Yun Jioga held back his laughter and tried to maintain a normal expression. Let's go back. Perhaps you can grow a little more in the pool. Let's go. Zishang flicked his tail and quickly returned to Hua Manchu's cave abode. The white eggshell was still soaking in the spiritual pool and the spiritual flower pearl. Zishang jumped into the water and gnawed on the two halves of the eggshell. Then he swallowed the rest of the spiritual flower pearl and spiritual water. His stomach had grown bigger, and he was paralyzed at the bottom of the pool, unable to move. I'll get Hua Manchu to give you some later. Why do you have to work so hard? Yun Jioga reached out to poke Zishang's bulging belly. Don't move. Zishang slapped away Yun Jioga's finger in disdain. He was too full. If he poked him again, the water would spurt out. Do you plan to lie here like a corpse forever? Yun Jioga leaned against the side of the pool and looked at Zishang. Zishang's current body was only as thick as an adult's arm. His purplish-black scales shone, and the horns on his head only had two small horns. Of course not. Call Hua Manchu over. Let him see who made this talisman. Zishang stood up from the bottom of the pool. He had to catch the mastermind and avenge his wife and son. Chapter 562. Yun Jioga shook the wind bell flower in the cave abode, and the tinkling sound spread out. Not long after, Hua Manchu came back drunk and his body smelled of alcohol. It seemed like he had drunk a lot at the banquet. What happened? Zishang, why did you come out early? Hua Manchu's drunken eyes landed on Zishang, and he immediately sobered up. Someone broke into the barrier and attacked me. Zishang put his claws on the edge of the pool, and his dragon face was very unhappy. Who was it? Why didn't I sense anything? Hua Manchu was shocked. Although he had been drinking, he didn't let his guard down, and he didn't sense anything. Someone who is very good at controlling the shadows. Zishang took out the black talisman he had just grabbed and asked, Have you seen this talisman before? Hua Manchu took it and looked at it carefully. He put it under his nose and smelled it, and then said, It smells like human blood. It should be something made by the human race. Human race? Did Fan Yin come today? Yun Jioga asked. Fan Yin? Didn't he swear that he wouldn't come if the human race wasn't unjust and hell wasn't empty? Hua Manchu revealed a mocking smile. He didn't have a good impression of this guy who liked to sacrifice himself for others. I suspect that the mastermind is related to him, Yun Jioga said in a deep voice. No way, he doesn't even want to stay in Songlan domain. Why would he want to replace God Palace? Hua Manchu was surprised. Fan Yin was an anomaly in Songlan domain. Although he had a high cultivation, he was always compassionate. In the end, he destroyed his own cultivation to enter the lower domain. The lower domain was a mess, and there was a lack of spirit power. They would only go there to suffer when they were punished or wanted to reincarnate. There were very few people like Fan Yin who wanted to save the world. I also feel that it is impossible, but I can't think of anyone else besides him. After I received the omen of the calamity, I asked him. Not long after, he said that the Sun of Life is the key to saving the world. Yun Jioga recalled the past and realized that although Fan Yin didn't explicitly say his opinion, he gave her a lot of hints. Let's go find him and ask. Zishang flew to Yun Jioga angrily. If it was really Fan Yin, he would eat him alive. Are we going now? Yun Jioga frowned. He still didn't make any preparations to head to the lower realms. Definitely not now. You just announced that you will give me the divine palace. If you go to the lower realms now, what will those guys think? Kanglin will immediately fall into chaos. Hua Manchu hurriedly stopped him. The people outside did not eat him alive because of Yun Jioga. If Yun Jioga went to the lower realm, his fairy forest might be burned down by the angry guests. Little Flower is right. We don't have any concrete evidence. There is no point in finding him. Why don't we go back to God Palace first? If they want to cause trouble, they will attack me again, Zishang said. No, if they want to prove that your godhood is unstable, all they have to do is capture the Son of Life. Hua Manchu turned pale with fright when he said that. Not good. Those fellows are able to silently tear through my barrier. Your divine palace will also be in danger. Hurry up and go back. Dragon's son. Dragon's son. Yun Jioga's limbs went soft at the thought of his son in danger. She was afraid that her son would hurt himself, so she sealed his spatial powers. Before we left, she gave him 3 days of peace. He can't even resist now. Don't worry. Our divine palace's barrier isn't that easy to break. It's too late to go back now. Zishang used his claw to press down on Yun Jioga's shoulder. Then he said to Hua Manchu, Little Flower, we're going back now. I'll leave this place to you. Be careful. Don't worry. As long as I stay here, no one will cause trouble for me. Hua Manchu had been in Fairy Forest for more than 2,000 years. He didn't just eat and drink. There were many hidden restrictions in the forest. Zishang didn't say anything else. He pulled Yun Jioga through a secret passage and left Fairy Forest. They didn't dare take the spirit boat. They used their energies to fly to God Palace. God Palace, Golden Dragon Palace. A large black shadow covered in blood emerged from the ground. It used its fastest speed to control all the servant puppets and guards. Qing had just fed the sleeping little dragon man some spirit milk. When she got up and was about to wash the cups, she sensed the change in the spirit qi in the palace. She took out a green immortal sword and shot several sword lights at the weakest part of the spirit qi. The black shadow was forced to appear. It turned into a ferocious monster and pounced at Qing. Qing wanted to dodge but found that she couldn't move. She looked down and found that the black shadow was sticking to her feet. Seeing that the black monster was about to pounce on her, Qing ignored it. Instead, she used all her strength to pierce through the roof with her immortal sword. The alarm sounded throughout the God Palace. Was covered in blood as she slowly fell to the ground. Damn it. An annoyed voice sounded. It sacrificed 10 1,000-year-old spirit beasts to sneak into the God Palace, but it was ruined by this spirit woman. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and bring the Son of Life out. Another sharp voice sounded. The longer they delayed, the less chance they had to escape. The 2 black shadow monsters pounced at the little dragon man on the bed. At this moment, the little dragon man was still in a dream. After playing with the crown prince, the 2 of them sat on the left and right sides of the garden and stared at each other cross-eyed. Someone wants to catch you. Aren't you going to dodge? The crown prince felt the hostility from the 2 black shadow monsters. As the only heir of the ancient Black Demon clan, he had been chaste since he was born. He was very sensitive to murderous aura and evil intentions. What nonsense are you talking about? This is my bedroom. Who dares to come in and catch me? The little dragon man said with disdain. Stupid dragon, you can die, but don't drag me down. The crown prince was still in the little dragon man's dream. If something happened to the little dragon man, he would also be affected. He decisively kicked the little dragon man away. Then, he instantly controlled the little dragon man's body and teleported away from the golden bed. The 2 shadowy monsters pounced on the bed, but they missed their target. Where did that little bastard go? The tall shadow monster looked at the empty bed in confusion. It had clearly seen the dragon cub sleeping on it just now. Be careful. That little bastard can teleport. The shorter black shadow monster instantly discovered the little dragon man hiding under the eaves. Your power of space is too weak. The crown prince didn't expect the little dragon man to be so weak. When Ogre died, he sent a video back. This rare divine golden dragon was very powerful, but it could only teleport such a short distance. Chapter 563. Mother said I'm still young and can't use my power. Why are you using my body? Get out now. The little dragon stomped its feet in anger. It wanted to take back its body, but it couldn't find a way to wake up. You've been given 3 days of peace, and the connection between your soul and body has been cut off. Have a good rest. Leave these 2 small fries to me. The Crown Prince's eyes flashed with interest. Ever since his father sent him to the deep-sea demon palace, there had been no more assassins to kill him. It was extremely boring. I don't want to rest. I want to beat up the bad guys. Let me out. The little dragon man screamed in its dream. The Crown Prince automatically blocked out the little dragon man's noise and squinted to observe the 2 shadow monsters. Where did this damn guy go again? The tall one had a bad temper and was strong. He was a thug. He's here. The short shadow was the intelligent type. He was meticulous and once again discovered his hiding spot. The Crown Prince had an idea when he saw the 2 specialties. He released a thick black fog from his hands, covering the entire Golden Dragon Palace and the 2 shadow monsters. What's going on? Is someone playing dirty with us? The short shadow monster was shocked at first, then it was pleasantly surprised. They cultivated dark demon power, and darkness was the best for them. However, he only felt happy for a minute before he realized something was wrong. The darkness was a little weird. It could actually devour their dark demon power. How dare a nobody compete with me in darkness? The Crown Prince sneered. The ancient Black Demon clan was the ancestor of dark demon power, and he happened to be the emperor. The Crown Prince waved his hand, and 2 beams of black light covered the 2 shadow monsters. The tall shadow monster was facing a black mouse. It could only escape if it found the black mouse. The short shadow monster was facing a big black elephant. It could only escape if it killed the big black elephant. Have fun. The Crown Prince smiled and returned to the little dragon man's dream. The little dragon man was lying on the ground. It realized that the 2 monsters were quite powerful, and it couldn't deal with them at all. It immediately realized that it had misunderstood the Crown Prince. It was a good kid that would correct its mistakes. It immediately apologized to the Crown Prince with its round face. Thank you for saving you. It's nothing. The Crown Prince was quite happy, but he still pretended that it was nothing. After this stop, the little dragon man mentioned the Crown Prince as a good friend and asked dejectedly, "Why did Mother secretly feed me 3 days of peace? Is it because it's not obedient and makes her annoyed? What's so strange about that? I've been eating 3-day peace since I was born," the Crown Prince said indifferently. The first thing he had to do to cultivate the Dark Devil race's cultivation method was to absorb Dark Devil power. Because the process was very painful, his mother fed him 3 days of sleep every day and let him pass the time in a deep sleep. It turns out that every child grows up like this. The little dragon man immediately felt relieved. He happily sat under the tree and casually picked up a handful of blueberries and put them into his mouth. Then he called the Crown Prince over to eat with him. The Crown Prince sat beside the little dragon man and ate 2 blueberries. They tasted sweet and sour, and the taste was very special. "Everything in this garden can be eaten," the little dragon man said proudly. "Can this also be eaten?" The Crown Prince looked at the milk bell flowers hanging down from his head. The white petals looked like they were made of milk, and the red stamens were like sugar. When the wind blew, they emitted a pleasant sound and a faint milk fragrance. Of course, this is super sweet. The little dragon man tore off a bunch of milk bell flowers and shared it with the Crown Prince. Not bad. The Crown Prince ate a mouthful and followed the little dragon man to eat the entire myriad flower spirit garden. Logically speaking, this was the little dragon man's dream, and as an intruder, he shouldn't have a delicious feeling. However, the little dragon man was too familiar with the myriad flower spirit garden. The dream became extremely real, and even the Crown Prince was influenced by it. Just as the 2 children were swimming in the dream, Yun Jioga and Zi Shang finally arrived at the Divine Palace. It just so happened that Wan Sha had just brought people to capture the two shadow monsters, and Yu Qing also received treatment in time. Your Highness, it's all my fault. They actually passed through the barrier and barged in. Luckily, Yu Qing warned me in time. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wan Sha was ashamed. He was in charge of guarding the divine palace, but he didn't even notice the intruders. This is indeed your negligence. How is Long Air now? Yun Jioga asked as he walked quickly towards the Golden Dragon Palace. The Crown Prince is fine. He is still sleeping on the bed. However, there is something very strange. Wan Sha followed closely beside Yun Jioga and told him about the two assassins being trapped by the dark barrier. You suspect that this dark barrier was created by Long Air? Yun Jioga turned and stared at Wan Sha. Yes, because there is no one else in the sleeping palace other than the Crown Prince. Wan Sha also felt that it was very unbelievable. Dark devil power was a compulsory cultivation technique for the devil race. Even he couldn't set up such a pure dark barrier. That's impossible. You and I don't have the blood of the devil race in us. How could our son set up a dark barrier? Zi Shang, who was hiding in Yun Jioga's pocket, couldn't help but send a voice transmission. I know. There must be something strange about this. We will know when we ask him later. Yun Jioga continued to walk towards the Golden Dragon Palace. The resplendent bedchamber was not affected by the fight just now. The little dragon man was sleeping sweetly on the golden bed. Everything was no different from when Yun Jioga left. Baby, wake up. Yun Jioga dripped the antidote for 3 days' peace golden honey into the little dragon man's mouth. The little dragon man smacked its lips and slowly opened its eyes. Mother! The little dragon man rubbed its eyes and yawned loudly. Wan Sha said that 2 assassins barged into your sleeping palace just now. Do you know what happened? Yun Jioga went straight to the point. Oh yes, where are those 2 bad guys? They injured Sister Qing. I want to beat them to death. The little dragon man waved its little fist and shouted. Did you catch those 2 bad guys? Yun Jioga grabbed the little fist that the little dragon man was smashing in his palm and checked the seal in its body. The seal was still there, and the power of space that the little dragon man smashed was still being sealed. Then how did he trap those 2 black shadow monsters? No, it was Blackhorn who helped me defeat them, replied the little dragon man honestly. Little Blackhorn? What is that? Yun Jioga was confused. There was nothing called Little Black Horn in this Golden Dragon Palace. Little Black Horn is not a thing. He is my friend. He is the bad guy with black horns on his head that I told you about previously. You told me that you wanted to be friends with him. The little dragon man's tone was urgent and incoherent. Yun Jioga was confused. Chapter 564. Where did you get to know this black Jiao Jiao? Yun Jioga tried to sort things out. In my dream. Little dragon man blinked and said innocently. How did he enter your dream? Yun Jioga frowned. She knew that some almighties could enter other people's divine sense dream. However, there were countless calming and exorcism arrays set up in the Golden Dragon Palace. Who else could enter my son's divine sense dream so easily? I don't know. In any case, I would meet him in my dreams every time. In the beginning, we were always fighting, but later on, we became good friends. He was the one who defeated those 2 bad guys. The little dragon man had a proud expression on its face. It was proud of its friend for being so awesome. Yun Jioga immediately realized that the dark boundary was made by my son's friend, Black Jiao Jiao. Her son told her everything about Black Jiao Jiao after she asked indirectly. Yun Jioga was a little surprised when she found out that Black Jiao Jiao was only a 12-year-old kid. However, on second thought, no one could have such a good time with my son other than a kid. Tell our son that we would like to meet this friend of his if we have the chance. Ask him to invite him to our divine palace as a guest. Zi Shang's voice traveled into Yun Jioga's ears. Yun Jioga felt that this was an excellent idea and immediately suggested it to my son. Then wait for a moment. Little dragon man immediately lay down and fell asleep instantly. The dream was still in the myriad flower spirit garden. As the Crown Prince had just taken control of Little Dragon Man's body, he still had a trace of consciousness left in his dream. Black Jiao Jiao, my mother wants to invite you to our house for a meal. Little Dragon Man straightforwardly told his parents' request. Sorry, I can't go. I live too far away from you. The Crown Prince shook his head. Ogre was killed, and they hadn't found the new passageway key. All right, I will tell them. Little Dragon Man nodded and woke up from his dream. Then he said to his mother, Black Jiao Jiao said he can't come because he lives too far away from us. Is that so? That's such a pity. Yun Jioga instinctively felt that Black Jiao Jiao wasn't simple, but she didn't dare to push him too hard in case it caused a misunderstanding. Mother, I want to visit father and then look for Xiao Meng and the rest to play. The little dragon man turned over and got off the bed. After lying down for 3 days, he felt that his neck was hurting. Don't let him find me. Zi Shang was anxious. His great image as a father could not be destroyed. Baby, your father is currently in closed-door training. He will be able to come out and see us in a few days, so you should go and play with the little baby first. Yun Jioga lowered his head and kissed his son. All right. However, I want to go see big sister Qing first. The little dragon man picked up a pink crystal on the table and said, I'll give this to her. She'll definitely recover very quickly after seeing it. Go, she will be very happy to see you. Yun Jioga rubbed Qing Er's furry little head and asked the 1,000 Kills sect to escort him to Qing Er's room. After the little dragon man left, Yun Jioga's smiling face immediately darkened, and he said to Wan Sha, Where are the 2 assassins locked up? I'm locked in the light prison. Wan Sha brought Yun Jioga to the Divine Palace's dungeon. The Divine Palace's dungeon was divided into 3 parts, dark prison, light prison, and water prison. They were used to deal with different races. The 2 black shadow monsters cultivated the power of dark magic, so the light prison was definitely a torture to them. The light prison was embedded with 5 huge crystal mirrors. Holy white light was refracted by the mirrors and shone in every corner of the room, ensuring that there were no shadows. Yun Jioga walked into the light prison and saw 2 black balls that were nailed in a corner and shivering. Are these the 2 things that broke into the Divine Palace? Yun Jioga looked at the 2 balls of light that were so weak that they were about to disappear. That's right, it's them. They wanted to commit suicide, but I nailed them with the soul-locking needles. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to leave them for Yun Jioga to see, he would have turned them into ashes long ago. Who sent you? Yun Jioga's fingers moved slightly, and 2 rays of white light that were filled with a holy aura landed on them. 2 shrill cries sounded from the black balls, accompanied by the smell of burning. Not talking? Yun Jioga drew a few more rays of holy light and burned the 2 black balls black. Unfortunately, apart from the cries, he didn't get anything. It seems like they are under a restriction that prevents them from revealing the truth. Wan Sha shook his head. He had already interrogated them once, but he didn't get anything. Then there is no point in keeping them. Yun Jioga opened his hands, and the grayish-white devouring silk flew out and devoured the 2 black balls cleanly. How is it? Did you get any information? Wan Sha asked. They used the blood demon flower to break the barrier restriction to enter the Divine Palace. Yun Jioga's expression wasn't too good. The blood demon flower was a type of extremely vicious devil domain life form. It grew by gathering the resentment of heaven and earth. After it was born, it would devour many 1,000-year-old spirit beasts. During that period of time, all the high-tier spirit beasts in the Azure Wave realm were in a state of panic. Eventually, she had to personally capture this evil creature. Didn't you destroy the blood demon flower? Why are there still people using it? Wan Sha also had designs on the blood demon flower, but before he could find it, it was already destroyed by Yun Jioga. Maybe I missed a few back then. Yun Jioga lowered her eyes and kept the moon spirit silk. Impossible. I searched the entire devil domain a few times, but I didn't even find a single flower bud. Wan Sha shook his head. After he returned to the devil race, he organized a search team and confirmed that there were no more blood demon flowers. Let's put this matter aside for now. Send someone to search carefully and find out where they cast the spell. Then mend the barrier. Yun Jioga instructed. The barrier created by the blood demon flower was very long-lasting. If they didn't mend it in time, someone else would sneak in again. I will send someone to do it now. Wan Sha nodded and turned to leave the light prison. Yun Jioga was the only one left in the light prison. Zi Shang sneakily popped his head out from her pocket and whispered, I remember that you gave the blood demon flowers to Fan Yin to destroy. That's right. Because only his purple serene nine-yang true fire can completely destroy the blood demon flowers. Yun Jioga was in a terrible mood. Anyone who found out that they were betrayed by their friend wouldn't feel good. It seems like we have a sufficient reason to look for him. Zi Shang also wanted to know why Fan Yin broke the promise and betrayed her friend. Let's find out about Longer's mysterious friend first. Yun Jioga let out a breath. She didn't want her son to make a bad friend and be led astray. Then I will go and rest first. Tonight, we will meet his friend together. Zi Shang retracted his head and closed his eyes to rest. He was trying his best to digest the flower spirit pearl and flower spirit water that he swallowed today. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.